I don't want nothing bad to happen to nobody.
Oh, girl, you better tell the way he be beating on you, girl.
I know you care about him.
Y'all see this here? I'm big.
Oh, Jesus, I don't understand, Lord.
Anybody that donated it, if you could send me proof that you donated, I would get the money back to you.
Hurt me. And all society want to do is judge you. Say, go commit her. Put her in the hospital. That's all they want to do to you. Officially planning a second wedding. So I'm going to start planning.
This is Kiki Jones. You may already know her as the woman who went on live stream in her wedding dress with a bottle of alcohol in her hand and proceeded to have a complete emotional breakdown. Or as the woman from that one cruise video where her husband looked everywhere but at her, ignoring every attempt she made to get his attention while she smiled through the pain. Sparking whole discourse and crazy reactions from almost every community on every social media platform.
Like, I'm really not trying to bring his family in it, but his sister told me. She said he just had the wedding because you wanted it. His cousin said.
Now, the main reason this became a crazy story on the internet is because of the cheating allegations thrown around every corner. Kiki Jones woke up one day, decided she'd had enough of her cheating husband who goes by the name Brandon, and she spilled every single detail of her marriage to the world. And the things she spilled were absolutely unhinged. The insane part is that all of this feels like a circle of insanity because she mentioned that her husband was cheating with her close friend. This friend of hers, called Rissa, according to Kiki, is someone she basically helped to, according to her, when she was assaulted by her boyfriend. Kiki housed her, cooked for her, cleaned, and made her feel loved, only to be betrayed like a straight-up Lifetime movie villain. What makes this story even crazier is how this entire marriage turned out to be this hot, boiling pot of mess.
So I have a year this time to plan my small romantic wedding. And I just want to know, do y'all think I'm crazy?
Because just a few months back, when she was living in Disneyland mode thinking about happily ever after, Kiki was already planning a second wedding. Now, the reason for this is so cringe and disturbing it makes absolutely no sense no matter how you try to interpret it. Kiki said that on her wedding day she showed up heavily drunk. As a result, she doesn't have any memories of her big day. Pictures with family were not even taken. It was a crazy blackout, and a second wedding was apparently the solution to the mess she made. And to make it even worse, Child Protection Services took her kids.
They called CPS on me and took my kids. So y'all keep saying go to therapy. Bitch, therapy. I could never trust therapy again.
The reason was because they didn't think it was healthy to leave kids with someone who was crashing out on the internet like a lunatic. Which, by the way, when you think about it, makes absolutely perfect sense.
I trusted therapy. I trusted therapy. Do you hear that? And therapy called CPS on me the next day.
Following all of this and her newfound virality, Kiki decided to do something that absolutely no one saw coming. She created a GoFundMe and had donations pouring in by the thousands. Rumors had it that the amount was somewhere around $1,600 or more. Kiki said she needed the money to move out and stay away from her husband, who she later claimed was toxic and physically abusive, to start a new life, basically. But then the truth came out, which made the entire internet think that Kiki Jones is just another dusty, dirty, lying scammer on the internet. What happened? After a while, Kiki's husband appeared on the internet via interviews and lives to tell his side of the story. He mentioned that Kiki was lying, that they still lived in the same house, and most importantly, he never cheated with Kiki's friend. Now, all of this is obviously head-scratching information. We have to ask, what really is the truth in all of this? Is the story of the woman in the wedding dress even real, or was all of that really a performance? And the crown question is, did the internet just fund an insane scam?
Oh, this song. I used to be. I love this song.
Now let's start with the moment that defines this entire story. As you already know, there are two lead characters here, Kiki and her beloved or not so beloved husband, Brandon Jones. 7 months after her wedding, Kiki Jones put on her wedding dress, grabbed whatever she could find to drink, and went live on Facebook for roughly 40 minutes straight, and she had a lot to crash out for. One being that her marriage of just 7 months is having a bitter ending, all because her husband cheated the entire time. And two, because Child Protection Services took her kids away from him. Her wedding song was playing on repeat in the background. And in this same atmosphere, Kiki was trying to make sense of why her husband had been cheating on her with her friend. For some pretty odd reason, she kept crying and saying it was all her fault that her marriage crashed. She also mentioned that she should never have put their business on the internet. She spent even more minutes apologizing to Brandon, to his mother, and his entire family. Kiki was just saying sorry to everyone in this live, which is why it was particularly worrying. Because why is she the one apologizing if her husband was the one who cheated? Soon the comments flooded in with people praying for her, like this one, which says, "I'm praying for you. I was walked out on while at work. Keep going, I promise the pain gets easier to handle. Keep going." Some were crying with her and telling her to get off the internet and get help. This comment says, "I wish that I knew you and where you were, so I could be there with you and be there for you. When you're done crying, get help." Now that wedding dress breakdown live was exactly what launched Kiki into the internet spotlight. Actually, it's the main reason most people know her anyway. However, to connect the dots and understand why she was in that wedding dress, we need to go back to the simple cruise clip she posted online. The moment Kiki thought she'd finally found love. In the video, which she perfectly captioned, "The day I realized my husband doesn't want me," Kiki is smiling, trying desperately to get Brandon's attention. You can see her looking at him, leaning toward him, waiting for him to look back at her. But Brandon is barely even looking in her direction. That caption hit different because you could actually see it playing out. The video went viral, not just Facebook viral, from TikTok to Instagram and even YouTube commentary channels. Everyone was talking about this cruise video, and within days, Kiki reportedly went from being unknown to having over 300,000 followers on Facebook. People, per usual, started analyzing the video like their lives depended on it, breaking it down frame by frame.
This woman has only been married for a few months. I'm trying to be as delicate as I possibly can. This does not look like a man who fell out of love with his wife in 6 months. It looked like a man who finally got tired of pretending that he was in love.
From what I'm seeing, like, maybe she had started drinking a lot and maybe he was annoyed by that. Like that she was drinking, or maybe he's one that doesn't necessarily like physical touch. That could be something that he personally deals with, or whatever, or he doesn't like public display of affection, right?
The analysis of the entire situation gave birth to what people started calling the bird theory. And in case you don't know what bird theory is, it's this viral TikTok relationship test that basically means if you point something out to someone you love and they don't bother to look, they don't really care about you. It even turned into a whole trend of people testing if their partners were truly serious about them or if they were just wasting their time in relationships that were already dead.
It's time to change the way you think
I saw a
about
bird
it.
today.
Always
You
let
saw
someone works
a
differently
bird?
because
Like
it's
a
made
flying
different.
bird?
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Okay.
So it looks like
I forgot to tell you I saw a bird today.
A bird?
Yeah.
What? Okay. What kind of bird?
Hey, good morning,
Babe.
everybody.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you I saw a bird yesterday.
A what?
I saw a bird yesterday.
Uh-huh.
It was like red.
Well, this is at least according to TikTok standards. Now back to Kiki's drama. So just months before that cruise video, Kiki and Brandon got married. In fact, the whole event is still up on our Facebook page if you want to see it for yourself. And this all dates back to March, April 2025. Listening to everything Kiki had to say about her wedding to Brandon, we can only conclude that it was probably the joke of the century. According to Kiki herself, the photos looked like a fairy tale. Her in a beautiful wedding gown, Brandon in his suit, tears streaming down his face as they exchanged vows. Kiki talked about how perfect it looked in those photos. However, the chaotic part is that Kiki also admitted that she does not remember a single second of that wedding. Not one moment.
I blacked out to the point, y'all, where I don't remember nothing.
And she explained exactly why. According to her own confession in a video, she got drunk on alcohol. Because of this, she never got to drive the getaway car they paid for. There was no dance. And Brandon never even got to dance with his mother because Kiki was too out of it.
Didn't get to drive the car that we paid for. Didn't get to drive that car. Not
only did I not get to do the car, we didn't get to do our last dance. And my husband did not get to dance with his mother.
She also said they barely got family photos with Brandon's side because of what she called issues, including her grandmother not being able to make it. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. Just days after this wedding that she does not fully remember, Kiki announced that she was already planning a second wedding for 2027.
I'm about to fix my boho braids, but it's official. I'm having another wedding, y'all. Yes, I just got married, but we had some issues with family and things like that, and my grandmother couldn't make it. So we are officially planning a second wedding.
She explained that she wanted a small romantic wedding to do it right this time because she did not have any sober memories of the first one.
So I have a year this time to plan my small romantic wedding. And I just want to know, do y'all think I'm crazy?
She literally asked in that video, do y'all think I'm crazy? And if you think about it, it wasn't exactly a bad idea, considering the fact that almost half the family weren't involved. Well, it wouldn't take long for things to go worse than we already see. Because while Kiki was playing happy wife online, Brandon was texting someone else. Just so you're fully aware, Kiki and Brandon's story started like a beautiful rom-com movie. According to what Kiki shared in an interview on how they met, Kiki and Brandon met in 2023. And at the time, she was selling plates and Brandon was her customer. A very nice, cheerful customer at that. So along the line, he found out she was moving places and he offered to help. Guess this is where the real connection happened between these two. So 2 weeks later, they had their first date.
Let's talk about you and your husband, because I think this is kind of what blew everything up. When did you meet your husband?
I met him in 2023 when I was selling plates. He didn't initially try to talk to me. He was just a customer. He's really nice, and he found out I was moving, and he was like, "Oh, I'll help you move." So he helped me move, and in the process of us moving, of course, we kind of laughed and giggled, and then that's when he initially asked me on our first date, which was like 2 weeks later.
Brandon himself, given the information Kiki let out, had a very spotty record with women. In that interview, Kiki did say that Brandon woke up with her after they both dated for a while, but the crazy part was she found out that he was involved with another woman while they were still dating, meaning Brandon was cheating while they were dating. Now guess who he was cheating with? His wife. Now ex-wife anyway.
And then we had a little incidents where we broke up a little bit for 2 weeks during that time. Then we got back together, then we broke up again for 60 days. First time is because he said that he just didn't want me. I guess he was tired of me, but it turned out he actually had a girlfriend for those 2 weeks.
Yes, Brandon was married before he met Kiki. He was married to this lady called Keisha. And according to Keisha herself, the marriage ended because Brandon absolutely refused to cooperate with the divorce.
I'm Keisha. I am Brandon's ex-wife. And the only reason why I'm tapping into this little Kiki Jones trend is because she keeps mentioning what me and Brandon went through.
Keisha gave a full breakdown of what really happened between her and Brandon. And honestly, it explains a lot about the kind of man Kiki married. According to Keisha, they separated in February 2022, and she filed for divorce about 2 months later in April. But Brandon refused to sign the divorce papers. He kept telling Keisha that they were getting back together, that her wanting a divorce was just a phase, and that she'd come around eventually. Keisha described it as being held hostage legally while Brandon moved on with his life like nothing happened.
I left in February of 2022. Brandon did not want to sign the papers. He told me that he was not going to sign the papers because
The cheating part was part of Brandon's spotty baggage, which we talked about. And apparently Kiki knew about it even before she got married to him, because Keisha straight up told Kiki back in 2023 that he'd been a cheater from month 1. But Kiki ignored it, just like she ignored every other red flag waving in her face.
So she already knew from the jump that Brandon was a cheater. From a month after she got with him, she knew he was a cheater. That's first things first. She already knew that.
What makes this even more ridiculous is that while Brandon and Keisha were separated but still legally married, Kiki was already in the picture asking questions. She reached out to Keisha asking if she and Brandon were divorced yet. And Brandon, being Brandon, lied and told Kiki they'd already gone to the courthouse.
While me and her was having this discussion, she brought up the fact that She knew he was married, but he claimed that he went to the courthouse and got a divorce. And she said he got up one morning and put on clothes, and he said that he went to the courthouse and got a divorce, so is that a lie? So, mind you, she going back and forth with him while I'm on the phone. I'm still telling her, like, I don't want Brandon. I just want my divorce.
Eventually, after dragging it out for months, Brandon finally texted Keisha after some fight and said he was tired of the roller coaster and agreed to file. Keisha called off work that same day to handle it because she was done waiting. This was sometime in early 2023. And in Georgia, there's a 60-day waiting period for divorces to finalize. So by the time Brandon married Kiki in April 2025, his divorce from Keisha had been finalized for about 2 years. According to Kiki's own words, every man before Brandon had been violent. She talked about her baby daddy pulling a knife on her, about being assaulted as a teenager, about relationships that left her with concussions and short-term memory loss. So when Brandon came into her life and he was not physically abusive, that was enough for Kiki to call it love.
I got towed up. Every man that ever came in my life, they hurt me, right? So I took 2 years. 2 years. I didn't date nobody. I didn't talk to nobody. He came in my life out the blue.
But the red flags showed up immediately, and the biggest red flag came from Brandon's own family. And they did not hold back. Kiki revealed Brandon's family pulled her aside earlier on and told her straight up that Brandon loves his ex-wife Keisha, that Kiki was not the one, and she was just filling a space.
Like, I'm really not trying to bring his family in it, but his sister told me. She said he just had the wedding because you wanted it. His cousin said, that man not really into you. His mama said, my son do be lying, but Keisha is what he really was in love with. Like, I know they hate me because I mentioned them, but it's just my life. It happened in my life. Like, they said this shit. They told me this. They said that man don't love me. They said it, and it's like, he kept saying, you can't believe them, you can't believe them.
Kiki also made it clear that there were about 13 other women Brandon had been involved with, not including the ex-wife. She didn't give complete details about these other women, so there's not much known about them. But she did mention in an interview that during the whole saga, these women would DM her trying to console her, and she would shut them up, saying they were part of the problem.
And actually, it's funny to say, when all this stuff started happening, these same women reached out to me in my messenger. I'm so sorry this is happening. And I politely said, hey, you are part of the problem too. I don't need your sorry.
Wow. How many women was it?
It's a total of 13.
And this is not including the ex-wife.
Not including the ex-wife. That's the one he really loved, if you ask me.
Kiki, however, ignored all the red flags. She saw Brandon as wounded from his ex-wife's betrayal, because according to Brandon, Keisha had cheated on him and even had another man's baby, and Kiki thought she could be the woman who fixed him. She wanted love so badly that she convinced herself this was it.
Told me that she cheated on him, she had a baby on him, he just wanted to be loved.
But wait, if Keisha cheated and had another man's baby, why was Brandon the one refusing to sign the divorce papers? Why was he telling Keisha they were getting back together and that her wanting a divorce was just a phase? The math's not making sense. Either Brandon was lying to Kiki about why his marriage ended, or Keisha was lying about him refusing to let go. Someone's story doesn't line up. And honestly, given Brandon's pattern of cheating and manipulation, it's not hard to guess who's probably bending the truth here. So after that cruise video went viral and Kiki became internet famous for being the woman with the uninterested husband, she did what a lot of people in her position would do. She later went through to reveal what she had found on Brandon's phone. And what she found was, well, devastating. Lots of text messages, calls, between Brandon and a woman named Riss Evans. She made screenshots of everything and posted it on her Facebook page. And the thing is, Rissa was not just some random woman. She was Kiki's friend. A woman Kiki had literally opened her home to, cooked for, and even invited to her wedding. Rissa stayed in their home temporarily after her boyfriend beat her up and she needed somewhere safe to go. Kiki took her in, gave her a safe place to stay, cooked meals for her, gave her birthday gifts, even brought her back gifts from their honeymoon. She mentioned all that in a Facebook post she made. Kiki wrote, "I brought you into my house when your man assaulted you and left you alone with my husband just for y'all to do this?" And that entire time, Rissa had been building a relationship with Brandon, doing everything behind Kiki's back while Kiki was feeding her and giving her gifts. Fortunately, Kiki shared the text message screenshots on her Facebook, and you can watch them escalate in real time from harmless to completely inappropriate. Page 1 starts innocently enough. Casual conversation. Brandon is the white text box, while Rissa is the blue text box. In this chat, it seems they were both looking to have fun, because Rissa's text says, "If y'all got some fun to do like a big event or some," and then Brandon replies, "She's supposed to be planning a Friendsgiving." But then page 2 is where it shifts a bit. Brandon was in a trucking school at the time, and if you don't know, that's basically training to become a commercial truck driver, and he sent Rissa a message that said, "I'll let you continue to have a blessed night. Don't be posting more of those pictures now." What pictures? Why is he telling another woman something like this? That is not a casual friend text. That seems like a man who cares about what another woman is posting online while his wife is at home thinking everything is fine. Then page 3 gets even more dramatic. Brandon texted Rissa, "Are you right? I don't want old boy jumping in my inbox about you again." Rissa also mentioned in this chat that her kids are moving close to Brandon's and Kiki's area, and she would probably have a housewarming. And according to Kiki, these messages were happening daily. The screenshots Kiki shared were dated from September 2025 onward. But Kiki alleged it had been going on even longer. So after finding out about everything on Brandon's phone, Kiki did what anyone would do and confronted Rissa by sending her a DM. She asked Rissa, "Notice you and Brandon had been inboxing. Why is that okay?" Rissa didn't apologize or explain. Instead, she screenshotted Kiki's message, posted it to her Instagram story, and mocked her publicly. The caption said, "Being I was there, I can talk about it, LMAO. This girl delusional." Well, the internet had a field day with this. People were calling it a perfect Tyler Perry plot. Some rallied behind Kiki with hashtag Team Kiki, calling the betrayal slimy and unforgivable. Comments like this. Lots of deleted messages. They not even making sense. Praying for your healing, girl, Team Kiki. But even in all of this, most people agreed on one thing. This was a double betrayal. The texts, however, were just the beginning, because Kiki's reaction to this betrayal would cost her everything, including her kids. But here's the thing. Before any of this chaos went public, Kiki had been building a very specific narrative online. She was not just living her life with Brandon, she was literally performing it. From early 2025, right after they became exclusive and leading up to their April wedding, all the way to that viral cruise moment in October, Kiki's Facebook was filled with one message. She was the perfect wife, the devoted woman, the ride or die who would do anything for her man. However, 7 months after their wedding, everything would explode in the worst way possible. The day that brought CPS into Kiki's life and started the chain of events that would lead to her viral breakdown. But why was CPS there, you ask? Well, according to Kiki's own retelling in her live streams, it started over a cupcake. Yeah, a freaking cupcake. Brandon came home unannounced that day with his ex-wife godson. When she walked in, she saw the boy sitting at the table eating one of her Hershey X Debbie Snack collaboration cupcakes.
I got that thing on me. I come back. Now, when I get to this part of the crash out, I ain't gonna say too much because I still a CPS case open and I don't need shit right now. I just want my babies, right? But I come back. This in the house, y'all. And not only is he in the house, he washing and drying clothes. It smells fresh in the house. I'm pissed. I don't want to smell no freshness, no Tide detergent in the house. And not only is he back, he brought his ex-wife's little son. No, his ex-wife godson. They had a godson together before the marriage. He brought him back, and he's on the table eating my cupcake.
Now this made her pissed. Not just regular annoyance, but enraged beyond imagination. Because these were not just any cupcakes, it was a brand new collaboration, only 2 in a pack, and this kid was eating one of them without asking. Now to anyone watching from the outside, this sounds kinda ridiculous. Who loses their mind over a cupcake? But for Kiki, who has talked extensively about her crash outs that started in childhood when she was institutionalized for having hunger crashes, food has always been a trigger. This was not really about the cupcake. It was about everything that had been building up with Brandon and finally having something small enough to explode her. Surprisingly, Kiki was annoyed so much that she grabbed sugar, ran outside, and allegedly poured it all into Brandon's gas tank. But it gets worse, because after she allegedly put sugar in his gas tank, Brandon locked her out of the house.
It was only, it was only 2 in a pack. He only ate 1 because when I started crashing out, that cupcake flew. Okay, I don't want to say too much. But bitch, he tried to, I said, oh, you want to play? Oh, you want to play? I grabbed the sugar. I ran outside. I put it all in that tank. Man, God, please, man, please. I'm so sorry. Maybe I shouldn't be admitting this. God, why did I get...
And that is when Kiki completely lost it. She started beating on the windows, trying to get in, not even realizing or caring that there was a terrified child inside watching all of this happen. And then she spotted an unlocked window, one she had allegedly left open from prior crashes. So she went through it.
He got the top lock on. He locked me out the house. So guess what? I started beating the windows. I'm not realizing the kid in y'all. I'm losing my mind. Some say go to that damn window by the allegedly sugar in the tank. Allegedly, I don't know. I opened the window, y'all. The window. I don't know why that window was unlocked. I think I always unlock that window just in case, because like I said, it's not my first time crashing out, and he liked the lock bitch out the house. So I think probably 6 months ago I unlocked that window.
She got inside, got her phone, and according to her own words, she had something in her hand. She wouldn't say what, just something. Brandon was staring at her, already on the phone calling 911. And that little boy who just wanted to eat a cupcake, he was terrified and started crying.
I got the phone, I got something in my hand, I got something allegedly in my hand. He looking at me, he calling 911. He's calling 911. I'm gonna tell you about the CPS. I come through the window like Spider-Man. You wanna play with me? You wanna lock me out my own house? I know that the little boy, he was terrible. I ain't gonna lie.
But this was not the first time CPS had been involved. Kiki revealed that she'd previously told her therapist about pulling a knife on her baby daddy, and her therapist, as mandated reporters are required to do, reported it. So when Brandon called 911 on September 8th with a child present and Kiki breaking in through a window with something in her hand, CPS was contacted immediately. And this time they didn't just investigate, they removed the kids. The children were sent to live with their grandmother. After CPS took her kids, Kiki did not go quiet. Instead, she started going on live streams constantly. And those live streams got longer, more desperate, and more graphic with every stream. She went on a spree revealing traumas that most people would only tell a therapist. One of the first things she revealed about her mother, and this one hit hard. According to Kiki, when she was young, her mom had her put in a mental hospital. And the reason? Kiki was hungry. She explained that she would have what her mom called crash outs when she got too hungry. Basically, emotional meltdowns because she was a kid who needed food. And instead of recognizing that a hungry child having a breakdown is completely normal, her mom's solution was to have her committed to a mental institution.
She put me in a mental hospital when I had my first crash out because I was hungry. I told you I love snacks.
That's the kind of childhood trauma that shapes everything that comes after. It taught Kiki from a young age that her basic needs, like literally being fed, were seen as problems that needed to be controlled or punished. And you can still see how that affected her relationship with food throughout her content on social media, where she talks about loving snacks and food in ways that feel deeper than just casual mentions. Then Kiki started talking about what happened when she was 14, and this is where things get really dark. According to her, she snuck out of the house at 14 years old. She connected with an older man on something she called the CH line, which sounds like a chat line service. She trusted him and thought he was going to help her, but this older man allegedly brought her to his house and let multiple men assault her.
The family, I wanted a man. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted a man. So I had to hurry up and go out there. I had to put myself out there. You know, so I was 18. I met some. I don't know if they perverse because I did lie. So I don't know if they perverse or not. I don't know, but I started talking to dudes, and because of that, I ran away from home. When I ran away to the first dude house,
He told me he was going to take care of me, but yet he put me in a room. I don't know if I can say this. And before he was going to take me to my destination, he had his way with me too.
She also mentioned her grandmother loves her kids so much, but allegedly forgot about her. Her mom would not come stay with her. Her dad would not hug her. Her grandmother forgot about her. Every single person who was supposed to protect her, support her, love her unconditionally, allegedly failed. And Kiki was unpacking all of this on live streams for hours, stream after stream, getting longer and more detailed, connecting all of her childhood traumas to why Brandon's betrayal hurt so much. Like she had finally found love and it was ripped away just like everything else in her life. But as Kiki's story went viral, people watched her pain play out in real time, and they also wanted to help. The internet saw women who had been betrayed, whose kids had been taken, who was clearly struggling, and they wanted to do something. Sympathy turned into action. And in internet culture, sympathy usually means opening your wallet. This comment literally says, "I love you, Kiki Jones, and I'm praying for you and I'm here for you. Please reach out to me if you need anything." So Kiki created a GoFundMe and posted it on her socials, asking people to donate so she could move away from Brandon. But this is where things get funny. The problem was that the internet does not always wait for permission to help. And as Kiki's story spread across every platform, fake GoFundMe pages started popping up everywhere. Scammers were claiming to be raising money for her, taking advantage of the sympathy her story generated to steal from people who genuinely wanted to help her escape and get her kids back. Kiki called this out directly in her Facebook post, where she talked about people capitalizing on her pain. A few days later, Kiki made the decision to take something she called a mental health break, and this was not about trying to fundraise or capitalize on her virality, but about trying to escape the exploitation that was happening on every platform. In a Facebook post, she said, "Okay, y'all, now it's really time I take a mental health break. I made it clear that there should be no more fake pages and no GoFundMe account. But most of y'all are starting to play way too much, and I'm sorry, but this is truly my life, and I need to heal right now." In her posts after that move, Kiki kept talking about her real goals, which were getting therapy, staying consistent with her medication, and documenting her healing journey publicly, so she could eventually prove to CPS that she was stable enough to get her kids back. That was the plan. That was what people were rooting for, and that was what made this sympathy so strong. For a brief moment, it actually felt like maybe this viral chaos could have a positive ending. Like maybe the attention could be used for good instead of just consumption. But that hope did not last long. Something else was happening behind the scenes that nobody on the internet knew about yet. Months later, a story started circulating online that made her followers stop in their tracks. The rumors showed Kiki and Brandon together. Not just together, but allegedly in matching pajamas, looking cozy, looking happy, looking like a couple that had not just gone through a public betrayal and separation that the entire internet had witnessed. And this one was spread by Brandon's mother herself. And according to people analyzing these rumors, these two appeared to be in the same house. The same house that Kiki had been posting about needing to escape from. The very same situation she had been crying about on live for weeks. Whether those pictures were current, old, staged, or completely misinterpreted did not matter to the internet. People who had emotionally invested in Kiki's story spent hours watching her lives and crying with her and rooting for her to get out and get her kids back, felt absolutely played. Some claimed they'd sent money through Cash App or to various fundraising attempts, whether those were legitimate or the fake ones that had been circulating. And now they were hearing about them being together, proof she had never really left.
See this here? I've been. See, she's over here harassing me. I've been staying to myself. I ain't been bothering nobody.
The comments flooded in with rage and betrayal. People who were tagging her in posts demanding refunds, calling her a con artist, accusing her of playing the victim for clout and sympathy while secretly still with the man she had painted as her villain. Here's a comment from a Facebook user, Enoch Dragiev Brown, which says, "She has an evil, sneaky look." And another comment which says, "She's the final boss of goofballs. Ben knew it was fake. She'd do much funny looking ass." And the most important thing is, there was no clear divorce filing that anyone could find in public records. No legal proof that Kiki and Brandon were actually separated in any official capacity. Everything was audio. So when these rumors surfaced, allegedly them together and happy, it confirmed what the skeptics had been saying all along. Maybe this whole thing was performative, and that maybe Kiki had been using her trauma as content and the internet had fallen for it. However, the same internet that had lifted up Kiki and given her a platform and sympathy and attention was now ready to tear her down. Commentary channels that had been empathetic started asking harder questions.
Overnight, basically, just shows us how many hurt women are out there. Because there's no way in your freaking loving mind that you think that something isn't wrong with this situation.
TikTokers who had stitched her videos with support were now making content calling her out.
Her taking trips and you know, she's always drinking, and she has this issue with I guess her stomach or something. She had a surgery, and she went online in her wedding dress and, you know, cried out to you all, and y'all felt sorry for her. Y'all seen the cruise video, and y'all started passing judgment. But did y'all know with that cruise ship, number one is something happened prior to that. That's why he was looking the way he was looking.
The narrative flipped completely. Here's one comment which said, Kiki Jones is a scammer. This other comment from Facebook user Pretty Girl Michelle Jackson says, I'm sick of it. Last night you was checked in the hospital in so much pain. Today you touring some apartments, but you swear you just moved in.
All right, so by now, this woman has gotten exactly what she asked for, and that's the fame from the internet and the followers. She definitely has gotten there. But I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. Her turning into what she has turned into overnight, basically, just shows us how many hurt women are out there. Because there's no way in your freaking loving mind that you think that something isn't wrong with this situation. And it's not the man part. The man is not on the one. He's not all over the internet ranting. If you follow, y'all say y'all follow this woman, but if you follow this woman, it's a whole lot of inconsistencies in her stories all the time. She does not look genuine in her feelings. Y'all tell me, you can't tell a woman how to act you don't know. I know crazy when I see it. I know someone addicted to the internet and the fame as much as I see. A woman that just went through all that is not trying to do no damn meet and greets where she goes to see hundreds of people and they ask her questions about her relationship. This woman is not doing that. She told y'all she been trying to be famous.
What made it worse was the shift in how people saw it. Kiki had already been vocal about people using her pain, calling out fake GoFundMes, scammers and clout chasers using her story for views. So seeing the conversation turn felt strange. Suddenly people started asking if she was doing the same thing, if she was the one using her own pain for content or building a storyline for engagement.
Kiki Jones made $30,000 on Facebook. Now Kiki Jones' husband, mama, was just on live, baby. And when I say she was on there giving the tea, now I'm gonna just play a little clip for y'all. But the whole full live gonna be on my YouTube. Baby, when I tell y'all, mama said she not playing with her. She said 1 + 1 ain't 3 at all. Listen to what she said.
I'm gonna wait to God to send a blessing all the way through because it's coming with his name on it. I feel it. One blessing is when he got his job. He got a job now, so he ain't got to be stressing about how he gonna pay this and pay that and pay this. But her car in the shop, and she called him last night and asked, could he help her get it out? You got all this money, but you asking somebody that you took credentials away from him, but he couldn't even get a job to help you get your car out the shop, and you making all this money, and you just rented an Airbnb? You rented an Airbnb here last weekend, but your car in the shop, you walking. Y'all make it make sense, y'all? Day is coming. When you do things to people, God is not sleep, and he don't sleep, nor do he slumber. Karma, yes, Rachel, karma. It's coming. It's already there now. She over there sick, don't know which way to go. Got the food like she just so happy, so surprised about this and that. Can anybody tell me how I get in touch with Tasha K? I need to go on her show. Oh yeah, she can make. Oh yes, of course. I don't care what she make. She can make anything she want to make. Because I already called the Social Security boards and told them that she just drawed over $30,000 and have not reported to them.
Baby, Kiki, you got some explaining to do, baby. Because some of these hoes in this story ain't looking too good, baby girl. What's wrong with your car? Why your car down, girl? But baby, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments, because she said she want Tasha K, you know what I'm saying, to get in contact with her so she could do an interview with her. Y'all tag Tasha K in this video. Tasha, go over there and get her, girl. You know what I'm saying? You know, I know you gonna get it. You gonna get down to the really nitty gritty, baby.
So the questions become unavoidable. Had Kiki and Brandon staged their entire public breakup for content? Had the cruise video disconnect been directed like Brandon would later claim? Had the wedding dress breakdown been real or performative? And most importantly, if people had sent money believing they were helping her escape, where did that money go? Everyone wanted answers, and those answers were about to come from the last person anyone expected, Brandon himself. After weeks of watching Kiki dominate the narrative, and after people had already decided he was the villain, Brandon finally started doing his own lives and interviews. And his version of events was explosive, because he was not just defending himself, he was claiming that Kiki had orchestrated the entire thing. First, Brandon trashed the whole talk about him cheating with her friend Rissa. He said that they never slept together, and Kiki made that all up because apparently she's good at picking on people.
Whole internet that Rissa ruined y'all marriage. Why you think you do know that Rissa, I've interviewed Rissa already, right?
Yeah.
So why would she feel like or think that you and Rissa slept together? Was y'all ever in the house alone?
No.
That's the same thing Rissa said. That's why I'm trying to ask the questions in a different way.
Rissa was here to break up a real bad argument that transpired. She was in our guest room, and Kiki got a habit of picking. She like poking the bear. You know what I'm saying? So I'm laying in bed. She come mess with me about some pet. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something just so petty. And I'm telling her, go on about your business, man. Like, chill out. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I ain't on that tonight. I'm a non-confrontational person. I don't like all that.
And now if you really think about it and go back to the earlier part of this video, Rissa mentioned the exact same thing. In the whole saga, she even called Kiki delusional. And it begs us to ask this question. Is Kiki just going around accusing everyone without concrete evidence? We even found a video where Kiki explained who Brandon is, saying that he's non-confrontational, doesn't like no drama, basically praising him, which is contrary to everything we're seeing now.
Just because I want to love a man who deserves to be loved, who y'all keep messing over apparently, taking advantage of, and all this stuff, and you know this man is not confrontational. He's none of that, y'all. When I tell y'all, he's night and day, bro. He don't like to argue. He don't like the drama. And it's like, he the type that he don't like it. You could push him, and he will explode. He's like one of the people like, a quiet man would, well, you don't want that quiet man. So I don't do that. I give him peace.
Also, according to Brandon, some of the content that Kiki posts on social media is done by him. This is actually very, very insane, because he was just supporting her dream of becoming a content creator, going along with her ideas, even when they made him look bad, because he thought that was what was being a supportive husband meant. But the internet took those videos at face value and turned him into a villain, while she got sympathy and followers. Brandon also very subtly hints on Kiki also moving with other men while in the marriage. He mentioned on a live stream that she would take pictures in other men's cars, and each time he confronted her about it, she would always ask how he got to know about it.
With me, they gon' automatically, hey man, what's going on with this here? Why your wife taking pictures in another dude's car? And then when I bring it to her, if I bring it to her attention, who sent that to you? That means shouldn't even be your question. Like, where is the respect at? If you say you a Christian woman, you a married woman, you don't play about your union, you don't play about your marriage, but you out here showing this. And what kills me the most of these fake Bible thumpers out here agreeing with the she doing.
Brandon's confession actually hits more and points to a certain interview Kiki was part of. She was simply asked a question about STDs, and honestly, her answer was wild. Look at this.
I'm from Houston, Texas.
Okay, shout out to H-Town, all right? I like Houston. Got to be careful out there. I heard them damn STD rates ain't no... Is that true?
I heard. I try to keep it with one person.
One time, too, Kiki was on live stream crashing out as usual, and she kept going on about calling the men in her life so she can properly move on. She said point blank that she wouldn't mind being with a different man every night.
What can I call now? Because I got to move on right now. I don't even... Who can I call? I got to move on now. Like now. Like I need to talk with me, like right now. I can't do this. I gotta call. Hold on, let me fix my face. Thank you. I don't care. I know it don't. I know. But it's time. If I gotta be with a different every night at this point. He ain't answering. Let me call the next.
Now, what can we derive from all of this? Was Kiki also doing the same thing she accused her husband of? Was Kiki Jones also cheating? At this point, nobody knew what to believe anymore. Some people sided with Brandon immediately, saying they knew all along that Kiki was performing. Others doubled down on supporting her, arguing that others always flip the script and play victim when they get exposed. But Kiki was not going to let Brandon control the narrative without a fight. Kiki went live to address the backlash directly. She defended herself against people, saying it's all a prank and calling her a scam.
So I'm finna do this live, and I'm not finna do it long because I'ma save it, whatever. But I just had a decent day. My girl Jen got me at the house, and she took my hair down. She laid, dyed, and did it right. Y'all see that? Isn't that right? She got me right. I came home. I said, I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna get off the social media. I get a text message. People are saying that this was a prank, and it was on my page. People are also, I get a call saying it's a GoFundMe. If it was a GoFundMe, this is what I'm gonna do. If I ever get that down in the trenches, I'm gonna post it first, and I'm gonna say, hey y'all, I'm about to post a GoFundMe. This is me. I'm live. I'll get my other phone because I got 2 phones, and I'll show y'all the phone on live, and I will show y'all that I posted a GoFundMe. But I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Thank you, Jessica. I'm not gonna do it. This is why. This is how I know that this was the end, y'all, for my marriage. This will make me really come back to life. Because when everything started crinkling and I started losing my mind, God actually was talking to me. Like, he actually got me out of this. I started getting blessings and blessings. And I'm not going to speak the blessings because it's clear that a lot of people hate me. But I started getting blessings and blessings. Y'all finna see them blessings. Y'all about to see it. Don't worry. I'm not the type of person to play nobody, lie to nobody. Hell no. No, not me. Matter of fact, my husband, love him dearly. Love him dearly. My ring is somewhere around here. I don't know. But I'm not saying I'm perfect and all that. I'm great. I'm about to turn up. I'm really not. Because I got invited out today and I just didn't want to go party. I did go, get it laid dyed. She did me. My girl did it, and she did it free of charge, y'all. You see what I mean? Blessings. I done got somebody to call me and tell me I can get a free wax. Like, people are really coming through for me. And y'all think this is a game. Y'all think this is a game. I don't want no money. I don't want no GoFundMe. Save the GoFundMe for people that are dying, y'all. Just like that. Save it for people that really need it. People that on their last deathbed and, they need the money. I'm going to be okay. I give myself a couple months. I'm going to find me. I don't want to talk too much. But I'm going to be okay. Come on now. Y'all want a story time. Y'all do. I get it. But I want to get myself better. I want to get back to the bad Kiki. I want to get my nails done. I want to get my hair done. And I want to come over here. I want to get cute. I want to go have me a little drink something slight. Nothing crazy. And I want to come over here and I want to talk to y'all. And I'm going to tell y'all every little thing. I'll do a Q&A. I'll tell y'all. But to tell y'all right now, it was not a prank. It wasn't. If it's a prank, then go explain that girl Ashley Lowe, that keep posting fake pages. She posts a page saying he in my bed. She posts a page saying it was a joke. She posts a page. I feel like this is her. I do. Or I feel like it's her. I don't even think it's his family. Because I don't think his family want no smoke with y'all. Because y'all. So are y'all with me or y'all not? Listen. Why ain't nobody putting 2 and 2 together that the same side chick that I posted is making fake pages? Why y'all not putting that together? If that was a prank, then please sign me up for the next movie, because my heart dropped. My heart was not even, matter of fact, it was an outer body experience. Like, the real ones know my content. I have never praked around or play. I'm happy-go-lucky. That is me. Crashing out on the internet, drinking, CPS, cops, guns. I mean, whatever. I mean, pum-pums, whatever. All that went down, lost my mind, was a prank. Y'all stop. It's like y'all be looking to just cut a bitch off quick. Damn, y'all just got here. Come on now.
She even made a video saying she was going to refund, which was allegedly about a little over $1,600. After the backlash promising to do better, Kiki's lives got more and more performatively desperate than they'd ever been. And the moving on content, it's just been painful to watch, so much that comments are not even friendly anymore. At this point, everyone's telling Kiki Jones to get off the damn internet and go see a therapist or something. Here's a comment from TikTok user JCreations94 saying, "This shit an effing joke. Wrap this up. We don't gaff, bro."
So check this out. He said he gonna have a woman at the house tonight. This is the house that we shared together. I left him the house, left him all that, and I moved. I started over. Now, why part of me want to show the up and turn up? I just want to turn up. But I know that's not right, because at the end of the day, we're not together, right? I shouldn't care, right? I shouldn't care. But I'm kind of up about it, because he rubbing it in my face and he's saying, yeah, and this is a familiar face. Meaning, this is a woman he cheated on me with before and hurt me with before. So he's trying to get a rise out of me. But you know what? I told him, have a good night. Enjoy your familiar face. I'm good on all that. Have fun, boo. Do you? Like, I'm not even... Nah, matter of fact, I'm gonna go on a date myself, so I can make sure I don't go over there and try to turn up and I end up in jail. So I'm gonna do what's best for me, and that's what's gonna happen. Like, I know I shouldn't care, y'all. I know y'all gonna say, why the heck you care? Come on now. Damn, I'm still healing. This is still my husband. This is still somebody that I am in the process of getting a divorce with. All this shit hurt. None of this shit feel good. I'm not okay with none of this shit. I'm just having to go with it. It's a month now. It's a month I've been in my own place. I've been gone. I'm just having to go with all this shit. I didn't want none of this shit from the beginning. I didn't ask for this man to sit here and have no affairs. This was never the plan. For this shit for me to be starting over again. It never was. You know, like, yeah, I feel some kind of way. You telling me you gonna have a familiar face in the bed that I motherfucking bought. Yeah, I feel some kind of way. I paid for all that motherfucking, not you. And I was nice enough to leave it and leave you with everything, and that's the type of shit. Now you making me want to be evil. You making me want to go tear that whole down and take all that up out of there. And you start over from scratch. Fuck.
Don't be surprised when you notice that familiar face when you see him.
Now introducing the final character in this Kiki Jones story, Brandon's mom, Kiki's mother-in-law. Remember when we mentioned earlier, Kiki said that Brandon's mom would always tell her to her face that Brandon never truly loved her. Instead, it was his ex-wife whom he truly loved? Well, turns out Brandon's mom keeps doubling down on her hatred for Kiki. She went absolutely off on Kiki in a series of unhinged live streams that honestly were hard to watch. We're talking full-blown insults, personal attacks. She called Kiki everything and made it crystal clear that she wants absolutely nothing to do with her former daughter-in-law.
If you don't like me, ho, you gonna hate me. You're gonna wish you had never.
According to Brandon's mom, Kiki crashed her oldest son's wedding. Yes, not even Brandon's wedding, his brother's wedding. She also brought up some serious allegations, claiming Kiki had CPS involved in her life, and even accused her of pulling out a gun around a 5-year-old. Now, I can't verify any of these claims, but what we can confirm is that this woman was not holding back.
Up that she bad, a bad. No, you's a crazy. Bitch, you playing with the right motherfucker one, cause bitch, I don't fuck with your periods.
I don't with your cut up body, hibachi dog build period. So I don't know why in the you keep on coming for me. Y'all, this bitch did so much mother in my family. She was invited to my oldest son's wedding. Yeah. My oldest son wedding was crashed behind this Down syndrome, bug eye, no edge, hair around the edge line, hoe. Just constantly keep doing and doing CPS in her life. Why wouldn't CPS be in her life? You pulled a gun out around a 5-year-old baby. Can anybody tell me how do I get on this case with the CPS?
But Brandon's mom wasn't done. In her last live stream, she had some final words for Kiki. She made it clear she doesn't trust her around her son, going as far as to warn her that if anything happens to Brandon, she better have the police on speed dial. Then she completely dragged Kiki's whole "I'm moving on" act. According to her, when Brandon was staying at her place, Kiki was a mess, crying every single day and desperately begging for him to come back home. So all those TikToks about being over him and thriving, apparently pure performance.
Cause why you doing all that fake moving his clothes? Cause when he was here with me, you was crying every day begging him to come home. You was crying like Keith Sweat and begging like Lenny Williams.
And honestly, it checks out. The constant emotional breakdowns on live, the obsessive posting, the inability to just let go, none of it looks like someone who's actually moved on. So where does this leave us? Well, let's recap. Kiki said Brandon cheated on her with her best friend. Brandon and the friend both say that never happened. Kiki said she needed money to escape. Turns out they allegedly never separated. Kiki said she's moving on. Brandon's mom says she's been crying and begging him to come back. At some point, you have to ask yourself, what here was actually real? Was any of it real? Or did we all just watch a 7-month performance art piece disguised as a marriage falling apart? Because here's what we know for sure. There's no real proof anyone actually left anyone. Just a lot of viral videos, a lot of contradicting stories, and a comment section that's gone from Team Kiki to Team Please Log Off. The internet wanted to help. People genuinely felt for her. But somewhere between the wedding dress breakdown and Brandon's mom calling her delusional on Facebook Live, the sympathy ran out. Now people aren't even angry anymore. They're just tired. Tired of trying to figure out what's real and what's content. And maybe that's the real lesson here. When your entire relationship plays out online, when every breakdown is a live stream and every betrayal is content, what's left when the cameras turn off? What's real when everything's performed? Anyway, Kiki's still posting. She even runs a hair business now called Bouncy by Kiki Jones. Brandon's moved on, or at least he's trying to. He's not an online person, so there's not much to be known. And his mom, well, she made it clear that Kiki's not welcome at any more family functions. And the rest of us, we're left with more questions than answers. And honestly, maybe that was the point all along.
Oh, perfect. I just got into a huge fight with a loved one and just smashed shit in the bathroom, like throwing soap dispensers at the wall in the bathroom. And like there's just glass like all over the floor. Like I've never done that in my life. I was so heated. Just throwing shit.
At first glance, Tara looks like just another messy influencer struggling under the weight of internet fame. But beneath the viral clips, the luxury mansion, and the endless justifications, there's a repeating pattern of manipulation, entitlement, and self-inflicted collapse.
Prepare to be fucking sick of me with the OF promo. I might purposely get myself into a scandal. I'm cooking something up right now. Let me know if you have any ideas of like horrible, awful things I could say online to purposely get myself into a scandal. I get comments like, I thought you didn't do OF anymore. I thought you hated it. Just quit. I'm like, I can't just quit. I would lose my house. My financial advisor literally called me while I was driving back from my road trip. He was like, Tara, like if you don't shoot for OF next week, you're gonna lose your house within the month. So I can't just stop. Let's head into downtown and get coffee and pop into shops, but not actually buy anything because I'm broke these days. Y'all guessed it. Someone commented under my video the other day and she was like, I sense a recession. I was like, you are absolutely right, girly pop. TikTok doesn't allow me to put my OF link in my bio anymore, so I am now broke. I've been getting a lot of comments saying, girl, you keep saying that you're broke. How are you on a 2-week-long vacation? Wouldn't you like to know? Honestly, valid point. And to that I say, just because I'm broke does not mean I'm gonna give up my East Coast summer big one that I...
For much of her online presence, Tara has been openly telling followers that chaos sells, that she needed to keep this spectacle going to pay a massive mortgage. fund luxury concerts, and sustain a lifestyle built during her peak earning years. She began placing tell-alls and emotional confessions behind paywalls, threatening lawsuits over leaked clips, while insisting she was misunderstood, broke, and unfairly attacked. And the more she tried to control the narrative, the faster her credibility unraveled. Millions followed her for the mess, the oversharing, the "I'm just being real with you guys" energy that made her feel less like an influencer and more like a friend who never knew when to log off.
Fucked up, y'all. I woke up today sick as fuck, but like to hell if I don't go out on New Year's Eve. So I took a shot of this old Dayquil, but it's like kind of expired. So I was like, that's definitely 2 Sudafeds, 2 capsules of Dayquil that I postmated, and then a swig of this straight from the bottle. That's nasty. There's just like snot on my face right now. Flonase, glass of wine, and I feel like I'm on Mars. Not in a good way at all.
She cried on camera, spiraled publicly, and invited her audience into every single corner of her life, including but not limited to her relationships, her money problems, her mental health, even her family conflicts. For a long time it worked. The vulnerability felt real, but somewhere along the way, she lost the plot, and the line between honesty and performance completely collapsed. What started as impulsive oversharing slowly morphed into something far more calculated. Tara didn't just document chaos anymore, she began manufacturing it. Accusations were made before facts were checked. Strangers were labeled haters. Fans were treated like close friends when she needed something, and like disposable enemies when they pushed back. That shift became impossible to ignore when a single New Year's Eve outfit spiraled into a public meltdown, one that ended with Tara attacking an ER nurse for not delivering a borrowed $300 halter top fast enough, then questioning whether the nurse even existed. Around the same time, viewers watched her post videos of drunken breakdowns, smashed glass, violent family fights, and substance-fueled spirals, only for her to later admit that much of it was staged, deliberately exaggerated, or outright fake. Not for art, not for storytelling, but for clicks, traffic, and money.
I am a PR disaster. If I had a PR team, they would not know what to do with me. They would be scared of me.
Today we're breaking down the full story of Tara's world. The rise, the rage bait, the financial spiral, and the moment the internet stopped believing everything she said. Because when every breakdown becomes content, authenticity stops being currency. And Tara, she gave the internet more than enough to notice. Tara's online rise was fast and rooted in exposure. Under the name Tara's World, she built an audience on TikTok and YouTube by doing what many creators hesitate to do early on: oversharing aggressively and without filters. Her content revolved around her daily life, her emotions, her impulses, and her messes. Arguments, bad decisions, spirals, excitement, regret, all of it was filmed and uploaded with little pause.
Does anyone work? I swear to God, this BeReal shit, like I like get shit on myself all the time, even though I'm the most productive person ever. Like I'm always doing something. I'm never in bed in the middle of the day. And then I got BeReal, and this BeReal could go off at 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 3, it doesn't matter. Everyone's in bed. There's an alarming amount of people every time that BeReal goes off that are just in bed with the shades drawn. And it makes me feel so good about myself. I'm like, why are you in bed? Seems like nobody wants to work these days. Get your ass up and work.
It was raw and constant, which made it feel real in a space already saturated with curated perfection. That contrast is what allowed her to grow quickly. People didn't just watch her, they felt like they were keeping up with her because she always had something to talk about.
I was just about to make like a whole Coachella vlog, and yeah, I just met Reagan. I opened up my vlog to take a video and I met Reagan. Sorry. Whoa, she's gorge. I can't do this. Why did I just tell her that I knew she was eating fruit 30 minutes ago? So my boyfriend is very much like, if it was up to him, we would be hanging out 24 hours a day, every single day of the week. And I'm like the opposite. I love from a distance. I like to hang out, you know, once or twice a week. And I called him out of the blue yesterday. I was like, hey, I want to have a sleepover. So we were having a sleepover, and we always do like our like suck and sweet of the day, or like our peak in our pit, which is like the lowest point of your day and then the highest point of your day. And he was telling me his peak in his pit last night, and he was like, my peak is when you called me and asked if I wanted to have a sleepover. I was like, oh. He goes, that made me so happy. I was like, oh my God. He's like the sweetest thing in the entire world. It's like crazy. My dad asked me a few weeks ago, he was like, how do you know that like he's in it for the right reasons? How do you know, like, blah, blah. I was like, honestly, the way he looks at me. Not to be cornbread on TikTok right now, because I am never cornbread, but...
Very early on, Tara leaned into a persona that framed instability as relatability. She presented herself as impulsive, emotional, dramatic, and self-aware enough to joke about it. Crying on camera, venting without structure, laughing at her own bad choices, and immediately posting the fallout became part of the brand. The chaos was not hidden or edited out, it was the hook. Viewers were rewarded with spectacle and emotional access, and Tara was rewarded with engagement. Over time, this reinforced a feedback loop where impulsive behavior was not just normalized, but incentivized. Being messy did not hurt her growth, it accelerated it. From early on, Tara was unusually explicit about how she viewed her audience. She did not describe them as followers, viewers, or supporters in the traditional influencer sense. She called them her friends. On multiple occasions, she said outright that she would not make content if she did not feel a personal connection to the people watching her. In her framing, the emotional access she gave was proof of sincerity, and any suggestion that this dynamic was unhealthy or parasocial was brushed off or mocked. She rejected the idea that there could be boundaries between creator and audience, insisting instead that closeness was the point, and that her relationship with her followers was different from other influencers.
I consider like my audience my friends. I wouldn't make TikToks if I didn't consider y'all friends. Like, that's just not...
This philosophy shaped how she interacted with her audience in moments of conflict. When Tara needed validation, support, or defense, she leaned heavily into that intimacy. She vented directly to her followers, involved them in personal disputes, and spoke as if she were confiding in a trusted inner circle. During controversies, she expected her audience to take her side instinctively, to believe her version of events, and to defend her against criticism. Emotional loyalty was treated as the natural response to the access she had given. The closeness was not just emotional, it became transactional. Her audience was expected to show up, emotionally and financially, because they were not just watching her life, they were part of it. At the same time, that intimacy did not extend both ways. When followers questioned her behavior, challenged her actions, or pointed out inconsistencies, Tara did not treat that as concern or accountability. She framed it as betrayal. Criticism from strangers was labeled hate, and criticism from fans was treated as worse. In her language, there was little room for good faith disagreement. If someone pushed back, they were no longer a supporter, but a hater. This pattern repeated itself across multiple situations. Feedback was not engaged with on its substance, it was dismissed based on who it came from and how it made her feel. Over time, this created a dynamic where Tara could freely access the benefits of parasocial closeness without accepting the responsibilities that came with it. She could ask for understanding, patience, money, or grace while refusing to acknowledge the power imbalance she held. This would, however, be the least of her problems. As her audience grew, Tara began speaking more openly about money, and the numbers she shared were staggering. At various points, she claimed she was earning anywhere between $200,000 and $350,000 a month at her peak.
So now it's like $350 a month.
These figures were not presented as speculation or exaggeration, but as matter-of-fact explanations for the lifestyle she was living. She talked about her income casually, often in the same breath as complaints about stress, burnout, or pressure, which created a disconnect between the scale of her earnings and the way she framed her circumstances. That income was matched by equally aggressive spending. One of the earliest and most visible examples was her concert habit. Tara openly documented spending tens of thousands of dollars on Harry Styles shows in a short span of time, eventually totaling over $30,000 when tickets, travel, hotels, and associated costs were added up.
The most insane thing happened to me last night at the Harry Styles concert. Basically, I ended up spending $10,000 at this Harry Styles concert. Let me explain.
She filmed herself doing the math in real time, sounding surprised by the total, which only reinforced the impression that spending was impulsive and largely untracked. The money was treated as something abundant and temporary, rather than something that needed to be managed long-term.
Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, by the way, we have balcony now, like what? And I'm going with like a whole group of people. I go on Vivid seats and SeatGeek, and there's one ticket left on each site, after taxes, $4,200 each, I buy them. Because what other choice do I have? And thank God those worked, but I spent $10,000 on all these tickets. And like nothing like this has ever happened to me in my life, and I am just going to sit here until I take my last breath and tell everybody, don't use StubHub unless they make this up to me somehow, because I'm pissed. Like,
Beyond concerts, her lifestyle quickly escalated across every category. Luxury travel became routine. Designer purchases were normalized. High-end renovations, constant shopping, and frequent trips were presented as part of her everyday life. These were not framed as occasional splurges, but as baseline expectations of how she lived. The content itself often revolved around consumption, whether it was travel, events, animals, decor, or experiences that most people could not sustain even once, let alone repeatedly. The higher her income climbed, the more her spending followed, without any visible attempt to slow or stabilize it. The clearest symbol of this lifestyle creep is her purchase of a multi-million-dollar home in Beverly Hills.
I bought a house in the hills. The 16-year-old me used to manifest visiting Los Angeles. She would literally have a meltdown if she heard me right now. I'm gonna give you guys like a little empty house tour right now, because obviously none of this would be possible without you. This is not my house, this is our house.
Tara later disclosed that the house came with a mortgage of roughly $25,000 a month. This was not just a large financial commitment. It was a fixed, immovable expense that assumed her peak income would continue indefinitely. Rather than downsizing or buying conservatively, she anchored her life to the highest level of earnings she had ever experienced. From that point on, maintaining the lifestyle was no longer optional. It became a requirement. What makes this period important is not just how much Tara spent, but how normal it all seemed to her at the time. The spending was rarely framed as reckless. It was framed as earned, deserved, and temporary in its abundance, but permanent in its expectations. This is where the foundation was laid for everything that followed. Once the income fluctuated, the lifestyle did not. And instead of adjusting her expenses to match reality, Tara began looking for ways to force reality to keep up with the life she had already built. Long before the halter top incident, there was already a visible pattern in Tara's content that went beyond spontaneous messiness. The chaos was becoming the point of the videos themselves. She repeatedly posted clips centered on reckless behavior, heated confrontations, and situations that were framed as out of control.
So, a lot of people ask me why I don't drive. So I compiled a list of why I can't drive. I got a DUI when I was 18. I ran over a gas pump, knocked it over, ran it over, then left, got a hit and run. I've hit a deer. I've hit a bird. I played bumper cars off of a curb once and ruined my car. I've hit a plaza sign. I have T-boned somebody and their car door came off. I rear-ended someone in DC. I rear-ended somebody else in Providence and it broke my stepdad's wrist who was in the passenger seat. I hit a brand new BMW in a parking lot. I have hit a big rock that really totaled my car. I floored it through a lake and soaked my engine, so that ruined my engine. I have hit a couch on the highway going about 75 miles per hour, and I've also hit somebody's Jeep in a rental car. I had to get a rental car for a rental car. Let's play Guess My Insurance in the comments. Let's play Guess Tara's car insurance. Guess how much it is.
Arguments with people in her life, public emotional breakdowns, and stories that implied substance use or loss of control were presented in a way that felt deliberately heightened.
Like, for some context, I used to do meth and, like, purposely get hit by car.
The storytelling leaned hard on shock. Each new incident had to feel bigger, louder, and more alarming than the last.
So we all know how I used to live a very sketchy lifestyle, right? So I used to stay up until 7 a.m. every single night while getting drunk. And I would end the night off watching the sunrise on my balcony while I smoked cigarettes with my friends, right? Like, really cute and fun. So I was sitting on my balcony this morning eating a piece of toast, and I was like looking at the ground, like in the corner of my balcony, and it took me right back down memory lane because there was crusty ass cigarettes just sitting there, and I just, oh my god, I can't believe I used to live like that. I can't believe I used to live like that. It was so cracked out of my mind. Simply cracked out of my mind. Like, who the f***?
These moments were almost always structured the same way. Tara would appear visibly distressed or chaotic, hint at something serious or damaging without fully explaining it, and let the comments fill in the gaps. Viewers were left to speculate about what had happened and how bad things really were. This ambiguity kept people watching, replaying, and commenting. It also gave her flexibility. If the response was sympathetic, she leaned into being misunderstood and overwhelmed. If the response was critical, she reframed the situation as people being cruel or invasive.
I had to have an abortion. I was on birth control at the time. I have an IUD right now, but I was taking the pill. I also had a boyfriend. And keep in mind, like, I was not at a good point in my life at all. Like, I was a douchebag. I was an asshole. I was 18. I was still trying to figure out myself, but I was doing a pretty terrible job at doing so. I was doing drugs, like, all the time. I was drinking every night. I was just not, like, at a good place in my life to be taking care of a child. But anyways, obviously I was like drinking every night, and I started to get like literally blackout drunk off of one cocktail, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this never happens. Like, so I went to go get a pregnancy test, and I got 3 of them, and it turns out I was pregnant. My boyfriend was super supportive about it. He was willing to go in any direction that I wanted to. He came over, he was there with me through the whole thing. I also told my mom when it first happened, and she was very supportive as well.
As this style of content became more frequent, viewers started noticing inconsistencies. Stories would shift slightly from video to video. Details would be vague in one clip and suddenly very specific in the next. The emotional intensity often didn't match the situation being described. There were moments where the behavior looked performative rather than reactive, like someone playing the role of being out of control rather than actually losing control. By the time the chaos reached its peak, Tara stopped pretending it was accidental. She admitted openly on live streams and in follow-up videos that the mess was intentional. The breakdowns, the spirals, the alarming stories, the constant sense that something was wrong were not just her life unraveling in real time, they were content.
You hook up? No, the girl thing was a lie. It was a lie because I need money for Ariana ticket. No, guys, I'm like really cringy these days online, and it's because of Ariana. As soon as Ariana released like that she was doing a tour, that's when I became cringy online, because I have to make money for her tickets. So I have to make OnlyFans money.
She explained that she deliberately leaned into chaos because it drove traffic to her OnlyFans and related paywalled platforms. In her words, chaos sells.
Prepare to be sick of me with the OF promo. I might purposely get myself into a scandal. I'm cooking something up right now. Let me know if you have any ideas of like horrible, awful things I could say online to purposely get myself into a scandal. I'm going to.
She tied this strategy directly to money. Tara spoke repeatedly about financial pressure, especially the stress of carrying an enormous mortgage on her Beverly Hills home.
I'm never looking at comments ever again. Why do I put myself through things like this? Oh yeah, because the mortgage is due. How could I forget? Okay, bye.
She talked about the cost of maintaining her brand, funding production, managing her lifestyle, and keeping up with expenses that did not slow down when her views did. She also openly referenced discretionary spending as part of the pressure, including the money she wanted to spend on concert tours like Ariana Grande's. Rather than framing these as choices she could scale back, she framed them as fixed realities that required her to make more money quickly. And if chaos was what paid, then chaos was what she would deliver. What makes this admission significant is not just that she said it, but how casually she said it. There's no sense of discomfort about manipulating perception or intentionally alarming her audience. She acknowledged that people were worried about her health, her sobriety, and her safety, and admitted that she leaned into that worry anyway because it worked. The mess was no longer framed as vulnerability. It was framed as a marketing tactic.
A photo of her. She needs double hip surgery and it's $18,000. So they're trying to raise money for his surgery right now to give him a second chance to run. Oh my God. I'm gonna put the link for the GoFundMe up in my bio. Anything helps. This year I bought my dream Beverly Hills house and I just can't believe I live here. Let's get ready to go to Equinox. First, let's pick out an outfit. I'm ready for my OnlyFans shoot and it did so fucking well. Like in October, this past October. So now it's like $350 a month.
This confirmed what many viewers had already begun to suspect. that the escalating breakdowns were not losing control, but exercising it in a very specific way. Against that backdrop, the halter top incident became the inciting event that pulled everything into the open. Just days before New Year's Eve, Tara posted videos asking her followers if anyone in the Los Angeles area had a specific For Love and Lemons halter top that she could borrow.
Need your help. This is like a really specific request, but if anyone that lives in the LA area has this halter top from For Love and Lemons in a size small or extra small, can I please borrow it for New Year's Eve? I need it. This is do or die for me.
The top retailed for around $300 and was sold out. She emphasized that she needed it for her New Year's Eve outfit and framed the situation as urgent and emotionally important. It was framed as do or die. When people responded offering to sell the top door, Tara rejected those offers outright. She framed selling as exploitative and greedy, implying that people should not try to make money off her in that way.
So I was like, oh my God, I have 5 million girls that follow me on TikTok. Let me see if any of them have it that they could lend to me. So I made a video. I was like, does anyone have this like specific shirt that they could like let me borrow just for a night and then I'll send it back to you? And a couple people were like, oh, I have it. And I was like, oh, great. Like, can I please borrow it? I'll take such great care of it. I'll give it back to you right after New Year's Eve. And they were like, yeah, for $2,000. So I was like, all right, I'm not playing this game. They were trying to use me for money. I was like, okay, that's not worth it.
This was notable given her own stated income and lifestyle. Instead, she insisted on borrowing the item for free from someone local and returning it after one night. When questioned about why she didn't simply buy an alternative or pay someone fairly, she defended herself by returning to her core framing. These were not strangers, these were her friends. She reminded viewers that she considered her audience close to her, that she trusted them, and that asking them for help was natural. This moment captured the contradiction at the center of her online persona. She was simultaneously a high-earning influencer under extreme financial pressure and someone asking followers for free access to their belongings. She rejected the idea of a transactional exchange while benefiting from one, and she framed the request not as a favor between unequal parties, but as something friends simply do for each other. What followed would turn that framing inside out and expose just how fragile the boundary between audience and obligation had become. After initially posting about the halter top, Tara claimed that one follower in the Los Angeles area reached out and offered to lend it to her. According to Tara, the two exchanged messages and the plan was for the top to be sent to her via Uber package.
So I planned on going to the mall today, but I got a DM late last night like, hey, I have that shirt, like you can borrow it. I was like, oh my God, really? Like, I will take such good care of it. I'll send it right back to you after New Year's Eve. Like, she lived in the Valley. She was gonna Uber package it to me. We were chatting for a while. She seemed so nice.
Based on this promise, Tara said that she decided not to go to the mall to look for an alternative outfit. At that point, the situation was still private and relatively mundane. That changed when the followers stopped responding. The gap in communication lasted roughly 3 hours. Not a full day, not overnight, just a few hours without a reply.
I was completely relying on her. She ghosted me. She was playing the long game. She was like pretending like she like loved me so that I wouldn't go to the mall and like find a shirt. And then she like ghosted me. I'm honestly like right on. If I hated someone that much, I wouldn't be able to like pretend like I loved them for as long as she did. She f***ed me over real bad. She was just like, yep, hasn't answered me in like 3 hours.
Instead of waiting or seeking clarification, Tara went public. She posted videos accusing the person of intentionally sabotaging her New Year's Eve plans. She framed the silence as deliberate and malicious, calling the follower a hater who had been running a long con scheme. What escalated this situation was not just the accusation itself, but how quickly and repeatedly Tara pushed the narrative. She didn't post one frustrated video and move on. She posted multiple videos, each reinforcing the idea that she had been targeted. She spoke to her audience as if the conclusion was already proven, encouraging viewers to share in her outrage before any facts were confirmed. The framing was emotionally loaded from the start, and the follower was a villain. Shortly after, the person Tara accused came forward publicly. The follower explained that she was an emergency room nurse who had been working an unexpectedly intense shift. She described being short-staffed, dealing with a high volume of patients, and being required to stay overtime. She apologized for not responding sooner and clarified that she was not allowed to be on her phone while working. The explanation was direct, specific, and grounded in circumstances that many people immediately recognized as plausible, especially given the timing around New Year's Eve. The public response shifted quickly. Many viewers sided with the nurse, pointing out that a 3-hour delay was normal, especially for someone working in healthcare. The tone of the situation changed from influencer inconvenience to a working professional being publicly accused over a borrowed item that was never guaranteed in the first place. At this point, Tara had an opportunity to de-escalate. Instead, she doubled down. Tara responded to the nurse dismissively. She stated that if the nurse knew she might be working, she should not have offered the top at all. She implied that the responsibility lay with the follower to anticipate emergencies and plan around Tara's needs. In doing so, she applied moral pressure downward, framing the situation as a personal failure rather than an unavoidable professional obligation. The imbalance was clear. A wealthy influencer who had admitted to staging content for profit was chastising a healthcare worker for not prioritizing a borrowed outfit over emergency care. That moment crystallized public frustration and marked the point where the narrative fully turned against her.
Are commenting on my stuff and DMing me saying, Tara's world values a halter top over a human life. If she had said to me, hey, I have the halter top that you want and I wish I could get it to you, but I actually have a shift tonight at the hospital, you know what I would say? I would say, oh my God, that's totally fine. Like, am I explaining this? Oh my God. Okay. So we were talking for like 12 hours, right? We started talking the night before New Year's Eve and she was like, yeah, I live in the Valley. Like, I'm going to get you this halter top. It's going to be great. We were chatting. Whatever. We're talking for like 12 hours about the halter top. I'm so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't go to the mall to get a shirt because she said that she would give me the halter top. Then like 4 o'clock rolls around and I had to leave by like 6. She just stops answering. Never once told me that she had a shift to work. Never mentioned work once. She just stopped answering until like midnight.
As more details emerged, the situation deteriorated further when private messages between Tara and the nurse were made public. In those messages, Tara's tone shifted from frustration to moral condemnation. She told the nurse that she hoped she did not F over her friends like this, reframing the situation as a personal character flaw rather than a professional obligation. These messages were particularly jarring because of the power imbalance. Tara was not speaking privately to a peer, she was speaking to a follower who had offered a personal item as a favor and then became the target of public outrage. By invoking friendship, guilt, and imagined personal tragedy, Tara turned the situation from disappointment to emotional coercion. The language suggested entitlement to someone else's time and labor, regardless of circumstance. It also contradicted her earlier framing of the audience as friends. The moment the follower failed to meet her expectations, the language of friendship was weaponized. The consequences were immediate. The nurse reported being harassed after being identified, receiving messages and attention she never sought. She stated that the experience was distressing enough that she chose to leave social media altogether. What began as an influencer asking for help ended with a private individual feeling pushed offline after trying to explain herself. This outcome intensified public backlash and reframed the incident as more than influencer drama. It became an example of how quickly an audience can be mobilized against someone with far less power. As criticism mounted, Tara attempted to minimize the situation. She shifted her language and began downplaying the severity of what had happened. She said that it was not that deep. She insisted it was just a halter top. This reframing was notable because it directly contradicted the way she had treated the situation initially. Only days earlier, the missing top had been framed as do or die, as something worth multiple videos, accusations, and public outrage. Now she tried to retroactively shrink the importance of the event as a way to blunt criticism. Alongside minimization came deflection. Tara suggested people were overreacting, misunderstanding her intent, or looking for reasons to attack her. Rather than acknowledging how her words and actions had impacted someone else, she focused on how the backlash made her feel. The narrative shifted from what she did to how unfairly she believed she was being treated. When the backlash did not fade, Tara pivoted again, this time toward conspiracy. Instead of addressing the substance of the criticism, she began suggesting that the nurse was not real at all.
Y'all, I'm crying. I'm only saying this right now because I've seen a couple of people now catching on and saying this, but I've been thinking this for days. There ain't no way that girl is a nurse. First of all, when she first DM'd me, like she already had like 200,000 followers, yet she has no profile picture, 0 posts, no link to an Instagram. I'm like, you either bought those followers or you bought this account. Again, no profile picture, like super sketchy, 0 posts, no link to an Instagram, whatever.
She claimed the account looked suspicious, pointed to follower counts, missing profile details, and later accused the person of using AI-generated images. In her retelling, the entire situation became a setup. The nurse was reframed as a rage baiter, a clout chaser, or someone intentionally manipulating the situation to make Tara look bad. This pivot was significant because it allowed her to avoid accountability entirely. If the nurse was fake, then the harm was imaginary. The accusations, the messages, the harassment, none of it mattered.
Then yesterday, she was posting these like weird ass fake pictures on her TikTok, like, yo, I finna be at the club tonight, what should I wear? And they were like obviously like super fake, and I was looking at them like, what the f-? And people were eating it up in the comments. They were like, go off, queen.
However, this argument did not land the way she seemed to expect. Even people who had previously defended her began pointing out that whether or not the nurse was real was beside the point. Tara's behavior before making those claims was already documented. She had already accused someone publicly, escalated the situation, sent hostile private messages, and mobilized her audience. The damage was done regardless of the nurse's identity. This was a rare moment where support fractured publicly, with viewers saying explicitly that the conspiracy did not absolve her actions. Instead of slowing down, Tara grew more combative. She mocked followers openly, dismissed calls for a PR team, and treated accountability as something only weak people concern themselves with. Advice to apologize or step back was framed as tone policing or censorship.
I am a PR disaster. If I had a PR team, they would not know what to do with me. They would be scared of me. I would have a situation on TikTok and they would be like, hey, you should make an apology video. This is what you should say. And I would turn around and make a video saying, suck my.
Not long after, the chaos escalated far beyond the halter top. Tara began posting a new wave of videos depicting extreme behavior. She appeared drunk in public spaces, filmed herself claiming to be in violent fights with family members, showed smashed glass and destroyed hotel rooms, and posted clips of herself vomiting in her yard. These videos were framed as real-time breakdowns. The implication was that she was spiraling. The content was alarming, uncomfortable, and deliberately shocking. But viewers quickly noticed something was off. The acting did not match the claims. The timing was too convenient. The camera placement was too deliberate. She claimed to be blackout drunk while speaking coherently, setting up shots, and narrating events in detail. She referenced responsibilities and plans while supposedly incapacitated. There were no visible consequences, no real aftermath, only a sequence of escalating scenes designed to provoke concern and outrage. As the pattern became obvious, many viewers concluded that the chaos was no longer even pretending to be accidental. It was a scripted spectacle. Each video pushed the shock further, not because her life was unraveling, but because attention was slipping. The audience was watching someone perform instability while insisting it was real, and the cracks were showing. By this point, the question was no longer whether Tara had crossed a line. It was whether anything she posted could still be trusted at all.
Being messy, I was lying and telling crazy, weird, chaotic stories on TikTok in an attempt to drive traffic to my OF page because I'm struggling with bills. So I got my manager and my financial advisors together and I was like, guys, I know how to direct traffic to my OF page and I'm unfortunately gonna start doing that. So that's where all those videos came from, where I was smashing bottles at the BHH. I was talking about like inviting this girl to come over and fuck me, like all this crazy stuff, and people were commenting like, girl, you need rehab.
What made the confession more disturbing was not just that the content was fake, but that Tara acknowledged the emotional cost to her audience and proceeded anyway. She admitted she knew people were genuinely worried about her health, her sobriety, and her safety. She knew viewers believed she was struggling. She knew people were expressing concern, urging her to get help, and fearing that something serious might happen. And she chose to continue because the engagement was high. The worry translated into clicks, subscriptions, and revenue. In her own explanation, the concern was part of the funnel. She also revealed that this approach was not happening in isolation. According to Tara, her manager and financial advisors were aware of what she was doing. She shared messages and explanations suggesting that her team praised the performance of the rage bait content. This confirmation pulled the curtain back on the broader system surrounding her. It was not just a creator chasing attention, it was an ecosystem that rewarded instability and punished normalcy. By admitting everything out loud, Tara accidentally explained the entire trajectory of her collapse. The chaos did not escalate because her life was spiraling. It escalated because escalation was the job. And eventually even that machine stalled. The thing that once made her impossible to ignore became something people scrolled past without feeling anything at all. Chaos, it turns out, attracts eyes but not commitment. Where that leaves Tara now is not with fury or mass outrage, but with something quieter and more dangerous: resignation. She's widely seen as someone trapped inside the business model she built, a creator unable to scale back her lifestyle, unable to step away from the performance, and unable to regain credibility once it was spent. The system that rewarded her worst impulses carried her this far, but it does not offer an off-ramp. And yet the story is not over, because creators like this do not disappear, they rebrand. Whatever Tara does next, whether it's another reinvention, another controversy, or a quieter attempt at normalcy, we will be watching. Elena O'Brien built her platform on beauty, nostalgia, and the fantasy of timeless art. With millions of views and a rapidly growing following across TikTok and Instagram, she positioned herself as something rare on the internet: a living Renaissance painting, a muse, someone artists admired, studied, and poured hours of free labor into, not because they were asked to, but because they wanted to. And for a while it worked. Artists didn't just draw her, they elevated her, they amplified her, they helped turn an aesthetic into a career. But unlike the Mona Lisa, that image didn't last, and the illusion didn't survive close inspection, because the same creator who invited thousands of artists to draw her for free would later partner with AI, technology accused of stealing from those very artists.
Imagine me as a Renaissance painting.
And as the backlash grew, so did the revelations. Old likes, private messages, political statements. A Halloween costume, many say, crossed the line into blackface. Claims of European nationalism from an Australian creator. Dismissal of Gaza as propaganda. Comments suggesting racial beauty hierarchies. What started as disappointment over an AI sponsorship quickly unraveled into something far darker. Today we're breaking down the rise and fall of Elena O'Brien. From the Draw Me movement that launched her into viral fame, to all the accusations of betrayal and racism that turned her own community against her. Because when your entire brand is built on admiration, the moment people stop projecting goodness onto you, everything underneath gets exposed. Before the backlash, before the partnerships, before the screenshots and DMs, Elena O'Brien existed online as a very specific idea. An Australian content creator posting under the usernames Elena and Elena28 on TikTok and Instagram, she did not rise through humor, commentary, or the traditional influencer trends. Her appeal was visual and immediate. Viewers fixated on her face first. Soft, rounded features, pale, rosy skin, a look that many commenters repeatedly compared to women depicted in Renaissance and early modern paintings. Across multiple platforms, the comparison became constant. She was described as looking like a figure pulled straight from a gallery wall, a time capsule in motion, a painting that somehow learned how to speak. Elena recognized that reaction almost immediately and built her identity around it. Her content leaned hard into Renaissance and medieval aesthetics. She dressed as a maiden from another era, wearing flowing garments, corseted silhouettes, and vintage-looking fabrics she often claimed were thrifted. She incorporated handheld fans, deliberate posture, and stylized gestures meant to evoke historical portraiture. Many of her videos followed a recurring visual ritual. She would begin completely still, frozen in place like a finished oil painting, before slowly animating into speech. In others, she would reverse the effect, starting animated and exaggerated, then settling into a sultry, composed pose as if slipping back into the frame. This contrast became part of her appeal. Despite resembling the stoic, silent women immortalized in classic art, Elena was expressive and talkative. She gesticulated, smiled, joked, and spoke directly to her audience.
Ma'am, maybe a DNA test because she's deaf your ancestor. Well, we actually looked into this, and research says that Elizabeth Plantagenet was actually our many great-grandmother, and her father was King Edward IV. And she was his first child but illegitimate, and 10 generations back from her there was Edward III, and he was the common connector to the family side that Catherine of Aragon belonged to, so says Google. So there we go. We're actually related.
She did not act like a museum piece. She felt modern while visually belonging to the past. That postmodern tension became her trademark. Her image also positioned her in opposition to contemporary beauty culture. Commenters praised her as an antidote to Botox, fillers, and cosmetic surgery trends. She was framed as natural, untouched, and timeless. Not manufactured, not algorithmically polished, but human in a way that felt rare online. That perception mattered. It gave her aesthetic a moral weight beyond appearance. She was not just beautiful, she was symbolically different. Alongside the visual branding, Elena publicly aligned herself with values that reinforced this image. She expressed appreciation for arts and artists. She leaned into thrifting, which signaled sustainability and anti-consumerist sentiment. According to multiple accounts, she also expressed anti-AI views prior to the controversy, placing herself in ideological proximity to human creativity and traditional artistry. Whether casually or deliberately, she positioned herself as someone who stood with artists, not corporations, with creators, not machines. By the time her account began gaining real traction, Elena was not just seen as an influencer, she was seen as a muse, a figure people projected meaning onto, someone whose aesthetic implied integrity, cultural sensitivity, and artistic respect before she ever said a word about any of those things. The moment that transformed Elena from an aesthetic creator into a viral sensation was not a brand deal, a trend, or a polished campaign. It was a comment. Under one of her videos, a viewer wrote a simple observation: "You look so drawable." Instead of ignoring it or responding with a like, Elena turned that comment into content. She filmed a response video that would become the foundation of her rise.
You look so drawable. I would love to be drawn. Everyone commenting, asking for permission, you do not have to. Just tag me. I would love to see it. Draw me, paint me, make video edits, and I'll repost them as well. I love you.
She told artists they did not need permission. She encouraged them to draw her, paint her, edit her, interpret her likeness however they wanted. All she asked was to be tagged. She promised to repost their work and celebrate it publicly. This was not framed as a contest or a commission. It was framed as a muse offering herself freely to the community. The response was overwhelming. Artists flooded TikTok and Instagram with drawings of Elena in every imaginable style. Traditional pencil sketches, digital portraits, oil-style paintings, stylized character designs, hyper-realistic studies, entire process videos documenting brush strokes, shading techniques, and creative decisions, all centered around her face. Some artists created multiple pieces. Others made full videos explaining how her features translated so well onto canvas. The volume was massive and sustained. What made this moment different from typical fan art trends was the scale and the labor involved. These were not quick edits or filters. These were hours-long works created by real people with real skills. And they were given freely. No payment, no contracts, no commissions, just admiration. In doing so, the artist provided Elena with 3 things that most influencers have to buy: labor, promotion, and algorithmic amplification. Every drawing posted introduced her face to a new audience. Every process video functioned as an endorsement. Every tag pushed her name further into art-focused spaces on TikTok and Instagram. The algorithm did the rest. A symbiotic relationship formed almost instantly. Elena reposted the artwork to her own pages, filling her feed with tributes to herself rendered in dozens of styles. Artists gained visibility from her audience. Elena gained exponential growth from theirs. It appeared mutually beneficial on the surface, a creator and a community lifting each other up. But beneath the goodwill was an unspoken imbalance. One side was giving time, skill, and creative labor. The other was receiving content, reach, and brand elevation. And that imbalance would later become impossible to ignore. But it's important to state that before the collapse, Elena was not just liked, she was trusted. Her interactions with followers reinforced the idea that she was kind, appreciative, and genuinely grateful for the attention she received. She spoke warmly to her audience, replied to comments, and regularly reposted fan art with praise. There was no visible arrogance, no obvious sense of entitlement. To many, she came across as friendly and grounded, someone aware that her rise was tied to the people uplifting her. That perception mattered because it shaped how everything she did was interpreted. She was not viewed as a conventional influencer chasing clout or brand deals. She was framed as a muse, a passive center around which creativity formed. Artists didn't feel like they were being marketed to. They felt inspired. That distinction is important. A muse is not supposed to exploit. A muse is supposed to exist, inspire, and appreciate. Elena fit neatly into that role in the eyes of her audience. As her platform grew, so did the composition of her followers. A large portion of her audience consisted of artists, illustrators, painters, digital creatives, many of whom were already vocal about the dangers of generative AI. This was a community that valued human labor, originality, and creative integrity. Politically and culturally, they skewed left-leaning. They were generally progressive, anti-corporate, anti-exploitation, and deeply skeptical of big tech. These were not passive consumers. They were people whose livelihoods and identities were tied to art. Because of that, expectations formed around Elena without her ever explicitly stating them. People assumed cultural sensitivity because her community demanded it. They assumed political awareness because her aesthetic was intertwined with art history, identity, and representation. They assumed alignment with progressive and artistic values because she appeared to benefit from and celebrate those values daily. Her thrifted fashion, her alleged anti-AI stance, her embrace of human-made art all reinforced that assumption. None of this was written into a contract, but it functioned like one. And when those expectations were later violated, the backlash was not just about a single decision. It was about the sudden realization that the person they thought they knew may never have existed at all. The Meta-AI partnership was the moment everything snapped. After months of being elevated by human artists, Elena appeared in a sponsored post collaborated with Meta-AI. The prompt was simple and loaded with symbolism. Imagine me as a Renaissance painting. Using her likeness, Meta's generative AI produced images designed to mimic the same old master aesthetic that thousands of real artists had already created for her by hand. This was not subtle. It was not abstract. It was a direct substitution of human labor with machine output, wrapped in the exact visual language her community had helped popularize. The context made it worse. At the time, generative AI was already widely condemned within the art community for scraping artist work without consent and using it to train models that actively replace paid creative labor. Artists had been openly protesting this technology, calling it exploitative, unethical, and destructive to their livelihoods. For a creator whose platform had been built almost entirely through free human artwork, partnering with an AI company accused of stealing from those same artists felt like a calculated insult. The response was immediate and visceral. Artists flooded her comments accusing her of betrayal. Some publicly deleted or defaced the artworks they'd made of her. Others posted videos burning drawings, scribbling over portraits, or erasing digital files on camera. These were not symbolic gestures. They were expressions of real anger and hurt from people who felt used. Many artists stated outright that they would never have drawn her if they knew she would later promote the tech threatening their careers.
As an artist who drew her, I feel so disrespected, and it's so strange to me to see that the person that asked to draw, like people to draw them for free, and have some collaborations and support of the real artists, just betray somehow and prefer corporation.
The situation escalated quickly. The Meta-AI post was deleted shortly after the backlash intensified, but the removal did little to calm the outrage. At first, it was unclear whether the partnership itself had been fully terminated, or if only the post had been taken down to reduce heat. That ambiguity fueled more distrust. To many, deletion without accountability felt like avoidance rather than remorse. Compounding the damage, Elena initially continued reposting fan art, even as artists were calling her out. What may have once been seen as appreciation now read as tone-deaf. Reposting human-made art while simultaneously profiting from AI-generated imagery made the contradiction impossible to ignore. Instead of softening the backlash, her continued activity reinforced the perception that she did not understand or did not care about why people were upset. This was no longer just about one's sponsorship. It had become a referendum on her values. And for the first time, the image of Elena as a harmless muse began to fracture in public. As the backlash intensified, artists stopped speaking in abstractions and started confronting Elena directly. Some did it publicly in her comments. Others took the conversation into her DMs, hoping that a private setting might lead to accountability or at least acknowledgement. What they received instead was the moment trust fully collapsed. In private messages, Elena repeatedly framed the situation as a matter of survival and inevitability. She described herself as just a girl out here making a living, emphasizing that the Meta AI post was her first major brand collaboration, and insisting that this is my job. When pressed on why she would accept a partnership that directly harmed the people who built her platform, she responded with phrases that would quickly become infamous. Beggars can't be choosers. There's no creator fund in Australia. The implication was clear. She wanted sympathy for her position, but she did not extend the same sympathy to the artists who had worked for her for free. These responses landed badly. To the artists reading them, the language felt dismissive and infantilizing. Just a girl came across not as vulnerability, but as a rhetorical shield, a way to minimize responsibility while still benefiting from power. Publicly, her comments were no better. When accused of selling out, she insisted there was no betrayal, reiterating that it was only one paid post and part of the advertising business. She argued that her reputation was about who she was as a person, not what she was selling. She told critics not to attach themselves emotionally to her paid partnerships, and claimed that all true fans know where I stand. To many, that line was the final fracture. It drew a clear boundary between loyal supporters who did not question her and those who dared to criticize her decisions. Artists interpreted these statements as morally evasive. Rather than addressing the harm caused, she deflected. Rather than acknowledging exploitation, she reframed it as mutual benefit, pointing to story views and exposure as sufficient compensation. The suggestion that artists should pay her for collaborations after months of unpaid fan art only reinforced the sense that she viewed their labor transactionally and only on her terms. As criticism mounted, Elena's response shifted from defensive to restrictive. Artists reported being blocked after leaving critical comments. Comment sections were limited or locked. Disappearing messages were enabled in DMs, making conversations harder to document and easier to deny. Instead of transparency, there was containment. Instead of dialogue, there was control. At that point, the damage was irreversible. The issue is no longer just AI. The way Elena spoke to the people who built her platform revealed a gap between the image she projected and the values she practiced. For an audience that had believed she stood with them, that realization was more painful than any sponsorship ever could be. Once the Meta AI controversy cracked the image people had of Elena, the scrutiny did not stop at sponsorships. The trust had already been damaged, and with that came a shift in how people viewed everything else she had done online. What was once brushed off or ignored now became evidence. Viewers began digging through her likes, comments, and private messages, not out of idle curiosity, but because the AI incident had raised a larger question. If she was willing to betray her artist community so casually, what else had people missed? Almost immediately, screenshots began circulating. Users documented posts Elena had liked that promoted white nationalist talking points, anti-immigration rhetoric, and Islamophobic narratives. These were not vague or misinterpreted memes. They included content framing immigrants as criminals, posts celebrating deportation rhetoric, and material positioning Muslims as a threat to European society. Other likes centered on nostalgia for an imagined racially homogenous Europe, mourning what commenters described as the loss of white European dominance. These interactions were public, visible through her account, and difficult to dismiss as accidental. More alarming screenshots followed. Elena had liked posts discussing racial IQ hierarchies, a long-standing white supremacist talking point used to justify discrimination and racial inequality. This was no longer about edgy opinions or poor judgment. It was about alignment with explicitly racist ideology. Private messages reinforced the public evidence. In multiple DM exchanges that later surfaced, Elena addressed political topics directly. When challenged about her views on immigration and global conflict, she framed war and humanitarian crisis as distant quarrels while centering her concern on the perceived decline of Europe. In one exchange after another, she complained about migrants being housed, fed, and supported by taxpayers, linked immigration to rising crime, and dismissed footage of civilian suffering as staged propaganda. Across these conversations, one line appeared again and again in slightly different forms. I suppose I would side with nationalism. That statement spread rapidly. People pointed out the contradiction immediately. Elena is Australian. She does not live in Europe. She does not hold European citizenship. Yet she repeatedly expressed anxiety over European borders, European culture, and European racial identity. The fixation felt ideological rather than personal, rooted in online nationalist spaces rather than lived experience. The whole thing had now turned into a full ideological reckoning. The audience was no longer debating whether one's sponsorship was a mistake. They were questioning whether the values they had projected onto Elena had ever been real at all. As more private messages surfaced, Elena's stance on Gaza and Palestine became one of the most disturbing elements of the fallout. In multiple DM exchanges, she dismissed footage coming out of Gaza as staged, describing it as sympathy propaganda designed to manipulate emotions. Rather than engaging with the scale of civilian suffering, she referred to the situation as a quarrel in a faraway country between people we know nothing about. Despite the extensive historical documentation of the conflict and its humanitarian consequences, her framing consistently shifted focus away from civilian deaths and toward immigration. In these messages, she emphasized fears about refugees using war as a pathway into Europe, complaining about migrants being housed, fed, and supported by taxpayers. She linked immigration to crime, bombings, and social decline, repeatedly centering the perceived threat to European stability rather than the loss of life that was driving displacement in the first place. Children dying in Gaza were treated as an abstract footnote, while border control and nationalism took priority in her responses. Elena claimed to oppose war and propaganda while simultaneously dismissing real footage of suffering and amplifying narratives that dehumanized refugees. By framing displaced people as opportunists or invaders rather than victims of violence, she reduced human lives to political inconveniences. For many, this confirmed that her nationalism was not abstract or aesthetic. It had real consequences in how she viewed other people's humanity. At the same time, another controversy added fuel to the fire. Elena had applied to a Vogue open casting call and shared the submission publicly. In the comment section of that post, someone wrote, "White girls will always be better looking." Elena liked the comment. Screenshots of the interactions spread quickly, especially because the post included her standing beside a darker-skinned model, making the implication impossible to ignore. Many accused her of endorsing beauty supremacy and racial hierarchy, not just privately, but in public view. The idea that her rise had been framed around being an alternative to modern beauty standards now looked hollow. When confronted, Elena denied liking the comment and claimed the screenshot was fabricated. That denial did little to slow the backlash. By that point, trust was already broken, and the denial was seen less as clarification and more as damage control. Together, the Gaza discourse and the Vogue incident shifted the narrative permanently. It simply took one sponsorship for people to start looking closely enough to see it. The Halloween cosplay controversy became the visual proof many critics felt they no longer needed to argue hypotheticals. Elena posted a Halloween look that featured her face and body darkened, paired with exaggerated red lips. She labeled the character Queen of Crows and later referred to it as a biblically accurate dark angel. The imagery immediately set off alarms. The combination of darkened skin and red lips has a long and well-documented history tied to blackface and minstrel imagery, regardless of costume intent or fantasy framing. When backlash began, Elena defended herself by insisting she was literally a crow. She explained that the dark coloring was meant to represent feathers and that she was not attempting to appear dark-skinned. In her view, grouping her costume with blackface was insulting and hateful. She maintained that there was no malicious intent behind the look and framed the criticism as a misunderstanding. That explanation did not exactly hold. Critics argued that intent was not the deciding factor. Blackface is defined by its visual and historical context, not by what the person wearing it claims to mean. The moment you darken your face and pair it with red lips, you are evoking imagery that's been used for centuries to dehumanize and mock black people. This is widely understood, particularly in online spaces where discussions of race and representation are common. Ignorance, critics argued, was not a defense, especially not for someone whose career depended on cultural aesthetics and visual symbolism. What removed any remaining benefit of the doubt was the pattern. By this point, Elena had already been exposed, liking racist and nationalist content, endorsing anti-immigration rhetoric, and dismissing the suffering of Palestinians. In that context, the costume could no longer be treated as an isolated mistake. It read as consistent with her broader worldview. The crow explanation felt less like clarification and more like plausible deniability. For many viewers, this was the moment ambiguity ended. Even those who had tried to separate aesthetic ignorance from ideological intent stopped doing so. The costume did not exist in a vacuum. It existed alongside her likes, her messages, and her statements. And taken together, they painted a picture that could no longer be explained away as accidental or naive. Under mounting pressure, Elena eventually released a multi-slide apology intended to address every major controversy at once. The statement covered the Met AI partnership, the environmental impact of generative AI, the Halloween costume accusations, her views on immigration, and the harassment she claimed to be experiencing. On the surface, it read like a comprehensive response. In practice, it deepened the divide over how sincere she actually was. Regarding Meta AI, she apologized for letting the art community down and described the partnership as a one-off advertisement contract that had been terminated, with the post taken down. She stated that she had failed to research the existential harm caused by AI and framed this as a personal education gap she now intended to correct. She acknowledged environmental concerns such as water scarcity and promised never to work with artistic AI again. She insisted that no artworks had been fed into AI models, only images of herself, and emphasized that she understood the effort and compassion required to make art because she considered herself a qualified artist. She then addressed the blackface accusations. Elena said she was sorry to the black community and claimed she had no intention of doing blackface, admitting that she did no prior research into the issue. She announced that all related videos would be taken down and added that she now understood how serious the situation was. Notably, she described the pattern as an error in how the look may be perceived, a phrase that stood out to critics as deflecting responsibility away from the act itself. On immigration and ideology, she denied being a Zionist or a white supremacist and stated she was only against illegal immigration. She claimed not to align with extremist groups or ideologies and said she was sorry to anyone offended. The framing focused heavily on offense rather than harm, and it avoided addressing the specific posts she had liked or the content of her private messages. Finally, she spoke about bullying and harassment. She said she would not tolerate further bullying toward herself or artists who had drawn her, referenced death threats she claimed to have received, and stated that she forgave those responsible. She insisted she would continue supporting artists and posting fan art, once again asserting that she had always supported artists from the beginning. She also offered to remove artworks from her highlights if artists requested it. The language patterns throughout the apology were consistent. Phrases like no intention, error in how it may be perceived, and repeated references to being a qualified artist appeared multiple times. To many critics, this read as evasive and self-protective rather than accountable. Some argued that the apology centered her feelings, her learning curve, and her suffering while minimizing the concrete harm caused to marginalized groups and to the artists she had relied on. By the time the apology dropped, though, the damage had already been done. For many former supporters, the issue was no longer whether she apologized correctly. It was whether they believed the version of Elena presented in that statement had ever aligned with the person they thought they were supporting in the first place. Artists who had once celebrated Elena began publicly distancing themselves from her. Some filmed themselves scribbling over portraits, burning sketches, or deleting digital files they had spent hours creating. Others posted videos explicitly renouncing any association with her name or image, making it clear that they no longer wanted their work linked to her platform. What had once been a collective act of admiration turned into a collective act of withdrawal. The audience fractured along familiar lines. A large portion of viewers argued that Elena should be permanently deplatformed. Not suspended, not forgiven, not rehabilitated, removed. They pointed to the pattern of behavior, the ideological alignment, and the dismissive responses as proof that the harm was not accidental and that continuing to give her reach only amplified dangerous ideas. Others pushed back against that position. They argued that growth requires the opportunity to change and that permanent exile from the internet leaves no room for learning. This group viewed the apology as sufficient, or at least as a starting point. They framed Elena as young, overwhelmed, and unequipped to handle sudden fame, insisting that the backlash had crossed into cruelty and that no one deserved to be defined forever by their worst moments. Elena herself did not meaningfully change course. She continued posting the same Renaissance-inspired content that had originally made her famous. The aesthetic remained intact, but the response did not. Views dropped, engagement thinned, comment sections stayed restricted. The sense of enchantment that once surrounded her content was gone. Without the artist community amplifying her work, the algorithmic momentum disappeared. We can safely say at this point that TikTok is one of those platforms that will never be free of drama. There's never any real peace on that app, because every other day you'll hear about a new controversy, a new messy situation, or a whole new category of cringe content creators. Even accounts known for wholesome, drama-free content somehow end up in chaos sooner or later. The content we're talking about today used to fall into that drama-free category not too long ago. But recently she's been popping up all over people's For You pages, and definitely not for the right reasons. We're talking about Pretty Little Thug, a creator with over 1 million followers and tons of viral videos. If you're chronically online on TikTok, you've probably come across one of some of her sweet, wholesome reels. But now her name is getting dragged across the internet because her mom exposed her for allegedly having a 31-year-old boyfriend at just 18 years old. This claim made by her mother during a live session has sent her fans into a complete frenzy. According to her mother, she even skipped her daughter's graduation because the nearly 31-year-old boyfriend was going to be there.
And she mad at me because I told y'all what his age was, because that's the reason why I didn't want to go to the graduation, because he's there. I'm not going to go. If I see this man and I know you done prayed and you grooming my child, I'm going to go off.
What does that mean?
That means nothing. I can't say it online. So I'm not mad at her at all. I just don't go around pedophile men. If I would have went there, I would have did something. Is she mad at me?
In response, Pretty Little Thug has posted multiple reels calling out her mother for hypocrisy, throwing allegations back at her, and escalating the drama on TikTok. What's worse is that she's now exposing her mother for neglect, telling the world that she was touched as a child by one of her mom's romantic interests. Today we're going to unpack everything that went down between this mother-daughter duo. Two people who have been seen together in countless wholesome reels, yet are now airing each other out online for millions to see. So without further ado, let's get into it. Have you ever wondered why you're getting spam calls? I'm also getting them too, and recently it started getting so bad that I finally searched my own name online. What I found honestly shocked me. My old address, my phone number, and even an email I haven't used in years were all publicly listed on multiple data broker websites. I never gave anyone permission to post that, and suddenly the spam calls, random login attempts, and even a suspicious credit inquiry all made sense. These companies collect and sell your personal information without telling you, and removing it on your own is nearly impossible. That's exactly where Aura comes in. Aura automatically sends removal requests to data brokers on your behalf and keeps monitoring to make sure your info stays off those lists for good. You also get real-time alerts if your data hits the dark web, plus credit and banking fraud monitoring. Their all-in-one security app includes a secure VPN, antivirus, a password manager, and spam calling blocking to protect your devices. And if anything goes wrong, their 24/7 US-based support and $1 million identity theft insurance have your back. Take control of your privacy. Try Aura free for 14 days at aura.com/RKH. Now let's get back into the video. Now, if you're completely clueless about who we're talking about and who this girl even is, please wait, because the tea surrounding her and her mother was literally all over TikTok a few days ago, and it's so entertaining. So if you're unfamiliar with this budding TikToker, here are the basics. She's nearly 18 years old, recently graduated high school, and already boasts over 1 million followers on TikTok. She joined the platform sometime in 2022 and quickly became noticeable for her charming personality and a collection of wholesome, aesthetically pleasing reels. The first reel of hers that blew up and pulled in millions of views was this one. After that, she only continued to grow, gaining more traction and building a solid brand for herself on social media. During our research, we also found out that she recently founded her own lip gloss and hair cap business. From the information she has shared online, it appears she has several siblings, used to live with her mother, later went into foster care, and now lives independently in her own apartment. If you visit her YouTube channel, you'll notice right away that her relationship with her mother has always been strained. Nearly 2 years ago, she left her mom's home and entered foster care. And the reason, according to her, was their constantly deteriorating relationship and what she described as a lack of empathy from her mother. In a video she posted in July 2025, Pretty Little Thug explained what her life with her mother was like before going into foster care. She claimed she had a mentally unstable, crazy, she described him, father who was abusive toward her mother. To escape him, Her mother left the place she grew up in and moved to Orlando. According to the creator, she hated Orlando from the moment she arrived. As a teenager, she struggled to adjust. She had no friends, no phone, and her mother reportedly even restricted her from listening to music.
So, my mama had moved to Orlando when I was like 8 or 9, one of those. But she moved, number one, because she didn't want to be in Broward no more, and number two, from my daddy. And that's one of the reasons why she don't play about the locations, because my daddy is crazy. My daddy is like one of them obsessive type of men, and my daddy is crazy. So she left from down there to get away from him. So that's why she don't really like people with her location and stuff. She don't like nobody with her location. She don't like my grandma with her location. Nobody used to have a location. I stood on that. She brought me up with telling me not to tell people her location, so I never told nobody her location till she put my business out there. That had nothing to do with y'all at all. But since out there, I don't care. But of course, I ain't just gonna get on there and tell y'all no shit like that. So we moved up to Orlando, and then okay, so boom, that's like 10, 11, 12. So as I started getting older, I started realizing what I wanted in life, and I did not want to be in Orlando. That's why I just don't like Orlando. I'm not even trying to get back on Orlando. I really don't like Orlando. I'm starting to like it now because I'm older and I could do more things and maneuver how I want to maneuver since I got a car and I'm able to do other things. But back then I did not like it. It was boring to me. Everybody was just weird to me. Everybody was just off. I don't know, maybe it's because like since I was born and raised in Broward and then moving to Orlando to a whole nother different environment that I'm not used to, and they just, y'all know it's fast down here. Everybody live that fast, like everybody crunk. Down up there it's like everybody just slowed down, everybody boring, everybody, all the black people act like white people and all the white people act like, it was just, I didn't like it. So
in the video, she went on to explain that her mother was never emotionally present during any of this. She said her mom felt distant and detached, which built resentment over time. She added that she believes her mother was emotionally absent because she viewed her daughter as a difficult child and someone who reminded her too much of her crazy father. She also mentioned that instead of her own mother, it was her grandmother who served as the constant emotional support throughout her life.
That the devil started taking over my mind. Yes, he was playing with my mind. He was playing with my, I promise y'all it was like, he was like, I would be in my room crying every day. My mama never came to check up on me. She came to check up on me every blue moon, but even when she did, she never sat down with me. It was never none of that. Faith was the one coming to check up on me. Leah, you okay? Like Faith felt me. Faith felt my pain. Faith is the peacemaker. Faith is the one, like I know she over there right now, Mom. I ain't gonna lie, you was wrong. Faith is very smart. And Faith know right from wrong. Faith is like, Faith could feel people's energy. Faith is just Faith. So I know she over there in my mama's ear telling her stuff that she put about the situation stuff. So, and I do regret dropping her location. The only reason I regret dropping her location is because my siblings over there. That's the only reason I regret it. That's literally the only reason. If I ain't had no siblings over there, I would not care at all. But so I would sit over there. I would cry every day. How many minutes I'm at? 6 minutes. I would cry every day, non-stop. I would lock myself in the closet, in the dark closet, and sit in there and cry and be depressed every day. Every day it was the same thing. Same day. Same thing. I tried counseling. That did not work. I didn't have all the resources. I didn't want to talk to the counseling people. The only person I wanted to talk to was my grandma. That was the only person I had to talk to me. My grandma was there for me emotionally, mentally, physically. That was the only person that was there for me. My grandma. My mama was never what is it called, physically there for me or mentally there for me. Like I never had no close bond with my mom. I always had that close bond with my grandma. Never had that close bond with my mama at all. Like she was very distant with me. She said that one of the reasons was because every time she looked at me, it reminded me of my daddy. Another reason she said she was always distant because I was just...
According to Pretty Lil Thug, she was really difficult as a child compared to all her siblings. She says she was constantly getting into trouble at school, starting fights at home, and generally giving her mom a tough time. In her words, she was emotionally distressed after moving to Orlando, and was expressing all those feelings through her behavior. She also talked about her little brother Anthony in the video, admitting that her mom treated him differently, which is why he was the one always appearing on camera with her. She said her mother somehow emotionally relied on this brother for support in ways she never relied on her.
It's fucking school. Like, I'm getting phone calls every week about something. I was always bad. Mind you, none of her kids was never bad. I was always the bad one, the one that was gonna crank up. So that I was always in trouble. And then every time she used to put me on punishment, it used to be at months in a time. So every time when I was on punishment, I used to get in trouble in a couple of weeks and be right back on punishment. So my punishment back then never ended. I was always on punishment. That she never, like, y'all know how y'all close with y'all moms. Y'all could give y'all mom kisses, hugs. It don't feel that with her. I could do that all day with my grandma. I can't do that with my mama without it feeling awkward in a way. So my mom was never there for me mentally. My mom was never there for me. She was there for me physically. Like, she made sure I was straight. She made sure I had what I needed. Just put it like that. Like, while I was living there before foster care, she made sure I had what I needed. As in, like, a book bag, 3 pairs of shoes, couple of clothes. And I used to pee in the bed. So I used to pee out all my clothes. And stuff like that. So, I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Like, I was in a really dark space with my mama. A really dark space. So I'm not finna sugarcoat or lie. I used to go around the house and start stuff with my mom and my brother. But before I used to go around the house and start stuff, them two used to always tag team against me. Always. Before all of it, them two used to always, Anthony always been slimy. He be like that his whole life. That's his personality. That's how he always gonna be. He's always gonna be. He do the same thing to my mama. He'll go down to Broward with his daddy, use his daddy for his vert because he wanna drive around in the vert and be outside, and then turn on my mama. My mama will always tell me that's her only friend right now. That's the only person she got up there right now. So that's why he always in the camera. But she already know what the business is with Anthony too. Like, everybody know what the business is with Anthony. Anthony is flawed. Anthony is not.
In another older video about her life as a foster kid, Pretty Little Thug opened up in detail about what led her mother to practically give her up while she was mentally struggling and going through a very bad phase. And honestly, it'll break your heart. According to her, around March 2023, she began acting out with her mother. During one of her many altercations with her mother, she said her mom finally had enough, put her in rehab, and then basically never looked back. She recalls that after getting out of the hospital, after completing tests and everything, she called her mom and asked her directly if she was really giving her up. And her mom replied, yes, sure.
Big corrected March 7th. No, I keep saying March 7th. I got big corrected March 5th or 6th, one of them. So, my job is right before my birthday. I had everything planned out for my birthday. So, it's been like a lot of stuff going on before her to want to say, okay, I'm done with her, I don't want nothing to do with her, boom. Like, it's been plenty of times I've been big right. There's been plenty of times I done spazzed out of her house. I done did all types of stuff, but the one thing about it, I ain't never put my hands on my mama. That's one thing about it. But I done went around the house, teared up stuff, broke stuff, all types of stuff. So, you know, she came to that point where she just was like, I'm done. I can't put up with this, because she quote unquote feels that her or her kids is not safe around me, which that's BS. But I had got Baker at a couple days for my birthday, and I kept telling the doctor, make sure I get out of here before March 8th. And he got me out of there before March 8th. I got out March 7th, and then she didn't come to pick me up. I called her straight up, like from the hospital people phone. I asked her, like, is she gonna give me away? She said, yes, sure is. I will never forget that. She said, yes, sure is. So after that, I hung up, and then that's when my dream.
Now, anyone with a heart and a mind will understand that it's difficult for a mother to manage so many kids while also dealing with a troubled teenager who seems to be creating more problems. The mother was probably struggling to put food on the table, make sure all the kids had what they needed, and on top of that, deal with the emotional outbursts and bad attitude of a teenager. It must have been exhausting. But at the same time, we cannot ignore the fact that she chose to have all these children. Her kids did not ask to be born. So whatever the circumstances are, she is responsible for looking after her children. not just physically, but also emotionally. You cannot simply give up on your kid, especially when that kid's only 15 years old. What we're seeing here is a distressed child who is clearly crying out for help, and instead of receiving support, she was treated like a burden and pushed off onto someone else. And as we go further into this story, as you get introduced to the mother herself, you'll begin to understand exactly what kind of emotional neglect Pretty Little Thug was referring to. In the video she posted on her YouTube channel shortly after entering foster care, she also talked about how desperately she wanted to escape the group home. She revealed that she tried to run away 3 different times. At one point, she said she almost trusted a man who offered to help her run away, but he expected sex in return. She explained that it was her instinct that saved her, helping her recognize the red flags early and avoid what could have been a dangerous situation. We want to remind you of something important. When all of this was happening, this mother-daughter duo had already blown up on TikTok. According to Pretty Little Thug, before TikTok, she and her mother had always bumped heads and never saw eye to eye. So it was her mother who pushed out the narrative online that they were a close and loving pair. There are countless reels of her and her mother sharing wholesome moments, laughing together, cooking together, dancing together. But according to the creator, the reality behind all those videos was very different.
That's the only time we be happy, is when we make TikToks, like, and it's so crazy, it's so wrong. We act alike, we look alike, we dress alike, we talk alike. We got the same attitude, same way we talk, same everything. Me and her always bump heads, okay? I ain't never hit my mama, I ain't never touched my mama, none of that. But me and her, we always bump heads, okay? Me and my mama never had no motherly, daughterly bond that y'all be seeing on TikTok and all that. No, it ain't even like that for real, bro. It just got like that when we had blew up on TikTok, because TikTok and social media was bringing us together. Like, us doing videos, that was bonding us together. Before TikTok, which was about 5 months ago, we blew up. 6, 5, it hasn't been, no, it's been longer than those 6 months. It's been about a year, less than a year.
According to Lil Thug, the foster care facility she stayed in housed children who came from extremely difficult backgrounds, kids who went through serious trauma and had no family at all to look after them. She said she felt sad because, unlike many of them, she had a mother, yet her mother was the one who placed her in foster care and made it clear that she wouldn't be taking her back anytime soon.
I got us a clean, nice, Christian group home. That's favor. That's what you call favor, y'all. Throughout this situation, I'm still being blessed. I got a job. Half of these, 99%, 98% of these kids in here don't have no job. They don't have nothing, okay? They don't even have the courage and the mindset to be like, okay, I'm sitting here, I might as well just get a job. They don't do that. And it's so sad. It's so sad, bro. It's so sad. Half of these kids, they don't have no family. They don't have no mama, no daddy, no nothing. They all got different situations, been through so much. And that's why I don't even try to complain, because I know they probably been through like worse than me. I come from something. I come from my own. And I ain't gonna lie, I do be looking back like, damn, this is what I turned over because of my action, because of the way I want to act. Anytime I get mad, anytime I feel like I don't get my way, I act crazy. More of the story. It's mainly when I feel like either I'm being disrespected or I feel like something ain't right, and I just get mad and I spaz out. I've been like that since I was 2 years old, quote unquote, by my mom. Yes, I still keep up with myself. I still wash my clothes. I can do all that. And it's actually easier for me to run away from here because to be honest, they don't try to look for you at all. Like, they might look for you for the first couple of days, that's about it. They'll give it is what it is. At the end of the day, she not trying to get me as of right now. She not trying to get me. I just texted her this morning about something. She was like, she'd rather not go through that no more. Okay, that's cool. I told her straight up, but you still posting me and you still getting clout for me. You still want me to do TikToks with you. Alright. I will be doing like vlogs. I will be taking y'all on this journey with me. Y'all keep all day.
It's tragic, heartbreaking, and honestly hard to digest. But what is inspiring is that despite being stranded by her mother and going through intense emotional turmoil, this young girl did not give up on life. For nearly 2 years, she continued uploading to TikTok and YouTube, showing her day-to-day experiences as a foster kid. Over time, people saw the resilience in her. They saw someone who was young, hurt, abandoned, and overwhelmed, yet still pushing forward. As time went on, her following grew more and more. Most of her content pulled in solid views, and her engagement stayed consistent. Pretty recently, in 2025, she achieved some major milestones. She graduated high school, bought a car under her own name with the money she earned, moved into her own apartment, and genuinely started piecing her life together in her own way. But despite all this growth, and despite having every reason to feel proud of her daughter, her mother decided to skip the graduation. When people questioned her during a live session about why she didn't show up for her daughter's big day, she went straight into airing out her publicly for everyone to see. According to her mom, she didn't attend the graduation because her daughter's boyfriend, who she claimed was 31 years old, was going to be there. She said she didn't support her daughter dating an older man, and that the situation traumatized her because, according to her, Pretty Lil Thug's father had allegedly preyed on her in a similar way when she was younger.
And she mad at me because I told y'all what his age was, because that's the reason why I didn't want to go to the graduation, because he's there. I'm not going to go. If I see this man and I know you done prayed and you grooming my child, I'm going to go off.
What does that mean?
That means nothing. I can't say it online. So I'm not mad at her at all. I just don't go around pedophile men. If I would have went there, I would have did something to that man. So I stayed in my area where my peaceful place is at, my house. Shush. She only acting like she care right now because of me telling y'all how old this man is. Other than that, I got a text right now. She said, "In Jesus Christ, don't come. I don't want you there. Block my number. Been had me blocked for days." What y'all don't want? That same ninja that freaking she posted that gave her a cake with her ass out on the cake. That's all he care about is her. That's it. Man, I'm not going around that man. That bring back trauma to me. Her daddy did me the same exact way. Prayed on me when I was a kid. I'm just trying to protect her.
During this same live session, the mother didn't stop there. She also brought up the past again, saying her daughter was always the bad kid, always breaking things, always throwing tantrums, and always making life difficult. She used this live moment to paint her daughter as the consistent problem, something that only added more fuel to the already messy situation.
This is the situation here. This is why she was never living here when she turned 16, because she crashes out. This ain't nothing new.
She paid for the car.
Watch out.
Mommy.
She crashes out. Break things, pull out knives, tear down stuff.
No, it's not that. Y'all know.
I just let her learn. But I'ma still tell her what's right and what's wrong. She said let her learn her own mistakes. I said okay.
And I'm on parole, but
if somebody asked me why you ain't go to the graduation, that's the truth. That's why I didn't go to the graduation. What is the big deal? If you know what you're doing is not right, you want people to hide it, don't do it. The people asked me the truth, I gave them the truth. I'm not gonna leave my kids at home by themselves, my little ones, and I'm not gonna go around somebody that's a P word. That's it. I don't care if I could have said all the way across over the way. I still got a bumping heads, but I still got that in my mind that he's there.
But everybody gonna come in the group at the end of the thing.
So what the mom is saying isn't entirely wrong, because yes, it is concerning that a 31-year-old man is apparently dating an 18-year-old. People still didn't believe this was the real reason she skipped her daughter's graduation. Given the long, complicated history between her and her daughter, many felt she simply made up an excuse to avoid attending such an important milestone. Because, let's be honest, you gave up your daughter to foster care when she was barely 16, labeled her the bad kid while she pushed through the odds, through emotional neglect, through instability, and still managed to graduate. You're gonna skip her big day because of some random man she's dating? People could understand disagreeing with your daughter's decision to date an older person. They could even understand disliking the boyfriend for being, frankly, a creep. But missing your kid's graduation simply because you disapprove, that's where most people drew the line. What made the situation even worse was how openly the mother discussed her daughter's business on social media instead of speaking to her privately. For a while before graduation, Pretty Lil Thug had mentioned having a boyfriend, but no one knew he was 31. And when fans eventually found out, many tried reaching out, not to attack her, but to warn her, to tell her she was trusting the wrong person. People genuinely felt concerned for her safety and well-being. But even with the concerns surrounding her boyfriend, fans still didn't buy that this was the mom's true reason for skipping the ceremony. And honestly, a lot of that doubt came from the mother's own attitude. It felt less like she was worried about her daughter and more like she was trying to prove a point to the internet that her daughter always made bad decisions, that she was difficult, that whatever happened was somehow her fault. Instead of showing any empathy or concern, she seemed focused on being right, and this rubbed people the wrong way. For many viewers, it didn't come across like a worried mother setting boundaries. It came across like someone exposing her child online for clout, validation, or to paint herself as the victim. And naturally, this made people angry. At the end of the day, parents are supposed to guide their children, especially when they're young, naive, and making questionable choices. But skipping your daughter's graduation, airing her out on a live stream and weaponizing her trauma, that's what made people question her intentions and doubt the narrative she was trying so hard to push. Pretty Lil Thug, who already had a pretty deeply strained relationship with her mother, did not take any of this lightly. The very same day her mother aired everything out on social media, Pretty Lil Thug hopped on TikTok and fired right back. According to her, she wasn't about to let her mother ruin her big day by blasting private issues online for an audience. She called her mother weird, claiming that whenever she tried to cut contact or set boundaries, her mom would chase her down and force herself back into her life. She also accused her mom of constantly using her for views, clout, and TikTok content.
Y'all, please do not mind my face. I didn't even let her not come into my graduation bother me because I'm so used to her shenanigans. Like, I don't even care for her no more. I tell her that all the time. I don't care for you no more. You left me stranded. Like, I don't care about nothing about what you got going on. I don't care. But now she got me messed up. But I'm going to come on here. I'm going to say what I got to say. And I'm going to make my drafts. And then I'm going to post my drafts throughout the day. But I'm going to continue to enjoy my day because I was having a blessed, wonderful day with just my grandma and my papa and my auntie coming to my graduation, showing up. Like, y'all don't even understand. I play my part as a daughter. I never did nothing wrong to this lady. Do not disrespect this lady how I used to know nothing. She called me, oh, you need to come up here. You need to come up here for Faith's birthday. You need to come up here for Loso's birthday. You need to come up here for Yana's birthday. I made it up there for every fucking birthday, y'all. I just bought her some earrings for her birthday. Was finna show up for her birthday. I do my part as a daughter. Fuck what I got going on in my personal life and who I talk to. I do my part as a daughter. And you still ain't satisfied. Like, she's so territorial and weird. I made it my priority to burn up that road to come up there for you every single time I turn around. Guess what? She always asking me for TikToks. Can you do a TikTok with me? Can you do this with me? Oh, can we make a video? Can we do this skit? Can we do this? Soon as we get off camera and I go back down the road, she's selling out, y'all. Selling me out. So every time she sell me out when I go down the road, I stop texting her. She end up texting me. She always texts me back first, y'all. Always come back to me first. She chases me down. Like, so I end up going back up there, seeing what they got going on. Oh, man, can you make a TikTok with me? Can you do this with me? Like, come on now, you weird. Like, you is weird. Like,
amidst all of this, everything truly exploded when her mother publicly stated that her daughter was dating a 31-year-old man. That one detail sparked a massive social media debate and kicked off a very public, very messy back and forth between mother and daughter. Some people sided with the mother, saying that a grown man hanging around a teenager was inappropriate and predatory. Others sided with the daughter, arguing that it was her life, her decisions, and her mother had no right to weaponize the information on social media. And as promised in her initial video, Pretty Lil Thug said she would be exposing her mother, and she kept her every word. In a follow-up TikTok, she claimed that her mother had actually met this boyfriend before. She said he had already interacted with her mother when he dropped her off in Orlando and had also attended her birthday celebration. According to her, her mother never objected, never warned her, never said anything. So from her perspective, her mother's sudden outrage felt performative and intentionally timed to ruin her graduation day. She insisted this wasn't about concern, it was about control and an excuse to skip the event and make herself look like the victim online.
Love you. I'm gonna first start off by saying all that, oh, you didn't want to be there because he was there. I don't want to hear that. Y'all, this lady met up with me while I was with him at a gas station so that I can get in the car with her so that we could go to the car show on Easter. That's number one. On my birthday, she met up with him in the Benz. It's on her page. We met halfway, Vero Beach. He drove me halfway. Nothing was said. She didn't meet him. No, nothing. That was that. So she could have did the same thing at graduation. There was plenty of times they was a couple of feet from each other. She also mentioned that she would actually meet him one day. She just got to see his intentions and if he gonna stick around. And all that you didn't want to leave the kids at home and not come to my graduation. I don't want to hear that either. Because for Easter, you left them up there all the way in Orlando. Faith, Loso, and Ayana, you left them up there at the house, and you came down to a car show for a car show, and I drove y'all back after the car show. So I don't want to hear that either. So y'all, and she seen a picture of him. I did not show her the picture, but that's besides the point.
Then came the part that made viewers collectively say, wait, what? Pretty Little Thug claimed that her mother even said after meeting the boyfriend that he was her type.
If I'm lying, I am fucking flying. She said, ooh, that's my type now. But that's my type now. If I'm lying, I am flying. Every time this boy do something good for me, she complains. It was a whole situation about my friend too, that I never got to the internet, but she made up all these assumptions about my friend and did the same thing with my friend. The only friend that y'all know about, she did the same thing with my friend. It's jealousy. She don't want to see me happy. She don't want to see me with nobody. Not saying that the situation is wrong, but it's a certain way you move about it. Feel me? Like, okay, y'all asked why she didn't come to my graduation. She could have just said, because I ain't want to leave the kids home. Simple. Simple. She dead wrong. Like, you're weird. Let me live and let me learn. Y'all gotta understand that no matter what's being said or what's going on, it's not changing nothing. I'm still in the lamb. I'm still with the nigga. It ain't changing nothing.
If that statement is true, it is undeniably strange and inappropriate. According to Pretty Little Thug, her mother has always had a problem whenever she formed connections with people or found any support system outside the family. She felt like her mom wanted her to be isolated, dependent, and easier to manipulate. Now, if you thought this mother-daughter back and forth was already embarrassing, buckle up, because things got much uglier. In her next video addressing her mother, Pretty Little Thug made several extremely serious allegations. These claims put her mother in a brutally bad light. But before getting into those details, some context is important. As previously mentioned, Pretty Little Thug has multiple siblings. Only Ayana and Loso share the same father. The rest of the kids, including Pretty Little Thug herself, have different fathers. In her video, she alleged that Ayana's father touched her younger sister Faith. According to her, it wasn't a one-time incident, but something that happened repeatedly. She said the situation got so severe that her mother had to call the police on him at one point. But despite allegedly knowing all of this, she claimed her mother still allows that man to visit the house and be around her other underage children.
Like, this made me so worried about who I talk to. But was the same one that said that nigga is so tight. Then it's like, how could you get on me about something, but you over there doing the opposite of what you preaching online? She got a baby daddy, but she only got one baby daddy in Orlando. Basically, it was this situation that happened where she went inside the food place, Hui Magoo's. All she did was pick up something. The food was already done. She just went in the store, she grabbed it, she picked it up. She said she came outside and the car was gone. So y'all, she looking for the car, she finally find the car. The car is packed in the back of the building. Out of all the parking spaces, your baby daddy parks in the back of the building. Mind y'all, this is Ayana's daddy and Loso daddy. Them two the only ones that got the same daddy. Everybody else different baby daddy. So she said she finally found the car, and my sister is out of the car seat bouncing on his lap. Mind you, she was still dealing with him after that. Out of the car seat. Mind you, my sister wasn't crying. This is not Ayana I'm talking about. This is Faith. Faith was little. So this is Ayana's baby. This is Ayana's daddy and Loso daddy. But this is Faith that was on his lap, which is not his child. So you parked in the back of the building. Mind y'all, she told me this. And you took my sister out of the car seat and you got her bouncing on your lap. She also told me that he used to play with her nipples. Also was a situation where she thought that he touched Ayana. She had a whole rash. She called the police on him and all. He still be going over to that house to this day. Like, you out of all people, like, you can't be no hypocrite. That's what that's called, y'all? Being a hypocrite. Oh yeah, one more thing. She told me that his private part used to get hard around us.
If this allegation is true, it goes far beyond petty family drama or social media name-calling. These are serious claims that warrant real investigation and protective action. If the mother is knowingly allowing a potentially dangerous individual around her children, then CPS absolutely should intervene. Someone in that family, or any responsible adult, should step in and ensure those kids are safe. Social media messiness is one thing. Child safety is something entirely different. What is interesting, though, is that her sister wasn't the only victim, according to Pretty Little Thug. She claimed that she herself experienced similar neglect and harm. In her TikTok video, she said her mother used to be a stripper when she was young and would often come home with black bags filled with cash, making her count the money as a child. She also alleged that her mother once left her with a man she was romantically involved with, and that man did something inappropriate to her, so much so that her mother again had to call the police on him.
Tell the people how you was a stripper and how you used to come home with black bags and had me count the money and separate the money, living in Rick-a-Trace. Tell the people how you left me alone with 1 out of the 50 you used to talk to. And you came back home and I told you what I told you and you had to call the police on him. You were an unfit, young, dumb mother back then. Now, right now, you've matured. You've gained more sense. But back then, yes, you were a berry brain. So I wonder why, at the age of 13, I came to you and told you that. She was living that fast life and had me in the backseat living it with her.
If all of these allegations are true, then what's going on in this household is not just dysfunctional, it's a cycle of neglect, instability, and exposure to unsafe environments. And while social media is having a field day debating who is right, the bigger issue is the pattern of these alleged incidents. Because if a mother repeatedly puts her children in situations where adults harm them, fails to protect them, or dismisses their discomfort, that's not just bad parenting, it's dangerous parenting. And it becomes the responsibility of outsiders, extended family, or authorities to step in and break the cycle. What makes this entire situation even more heartbreaking is that it's all playing out online. Every accusation, every rebuttal, every painful memory is being broadcast to millions. Instead of healing privately, the mother and daughter are locked in a public fight that keeps escalating. If what Pretty Little Thug said is true, then yes, it does come across as extremely hypocritical for her mother to judge her like this. A mother can guide, teach, and repeatedly encourage her daughter to do better, but publicly fighting on her social media or ranting about her on a live stream is not the way to help her leave a questionable relationship. If anything, it pushes her further away and makes her seek emotional support elsewhere. And that's exactly what she's doing right now. If the mother genuinely wants her daughter to listen, she doesn't need to scream, shame, or publicly drag her. That approach never works, especially with teenagers who feel independent, misunderstood, and untouchable. What she does need to do is set firm boundaries and have real conversations. Conversations that go beyond don't do this and explain why these choices are damaging, how they can affect her long term, and what patterns she might not see because she's young and inexperienced. A mother's job is not to control, but to steer, to support her daughter while still holding her accountable. To say, I'm here and I care, but I'm not letting you destroy your future. Right now, somewhere in Pretty Little Thug's life needs to be that steady, grounded presence. That role should belong to her mother. But based on how her mother keeps hopping on live streams, ranting and doubling down, it's painfully clear that she's not interested in repairing the relationship or guiding her daughter properly. I mean, just listen to how casually she dismissed her daughter's graduation, like it was nothing special. She openly said it wasn't a big deal that she missed it. That alone tells you where her priorities are.
A graduation? Okay, you got a certificate, you can graduate. Okay, good job. Okay. It's a reason why I didn't go, and I'd have told y'all that. Okay, it's not that serious. Wait till y'all have babies on your own. Watch.
Interestingly, she didn't stop there. In her next live stream, she was visibly fuming, going off on her daughter and saying things that were honestly disturbing. According to her, Pretty Little Thug was always a bad child who used to cut herself, throw tantrums, and lie constantly. She claimed that whenever her daughter went on TikTok, she only told half the truth and never admitted how she supposedly behaved at home.
She gonna put me through, bro. This girl be lying. I can't wait to God get her. She lies so freaking much, bro. She lies so much. She didn't tell y'all that, though. That's in my book. She didn't tell y'all that. What the fuck a 13-year-old child wanna know how their kid's daddy dick look like? Don't play with me. I said, that's the enemy that got you thinking like that. Don't play with me. Don't play with me, bro. She always lying. That's all she do is lie through her teeth, bro. It's about insecure. Insecure to show my stomach? What? Girl miserable. She talking about me. She miserable. She cried every day when she was ill. Bang, bro. This girl be lying so much. Bang her head to the wall. Used to be in this closet sitting in here like a zombie. Sitting in here like a zombie, bro. That girl is a crash out. That's why nobody wanted her. Nobody wanted her. You cut yourself. You forgot. You was clean. She never tell y'all everything. That girl is a compulsive fuck. She lied so much and I'm about done. I'm about done with her. She lied to me. All she was lie. She never tell y'all the truth. She's a whole lie. No, I ain't going too far. She done made video after video after video after video about me, and all she do is lie. Done made video after video after video after video after video about me, and still lying. Stop lying. Jewel insecure of showing her stomach. Are you kidding me? You've been jealous of me the whole entire time, and you my daughter. Why you walking around my house with little shorts on with your booty out, and I'm telling you, Lil, don't dress like that around their father. Don't dress like that. That's not your dad. Anyway, you should be dressed like that around men. Oh, you just jealous because my butt bigger than you. I got the journal, and I got everything you said in the journal. She lies so much, bro.
After watching this clip, it becomes very hard to feel any respect for the mother. The fact that she used her daughter's self-harm as a talking point to defend her own behavior is unbelievable. If your daughter were cutting herself, does that mean she was being difficult or that she needed help? What kind of mother reduces her child's mental health struggles to an argument point on a live stream? And the part where she said that nobody wanted her daughter, that was beyond cruel. Hearing something that harsh from your own mom is devastating. It reveals more about the mother's character than anything her daughter ever said about her online. At this point, it's honestly difficult to blame Pretty Little Thug for her choices. She clearly had a traumatic upbringing. Of course, she gravitated toward the wrong men. She never had a stable father figure, never saw a healthy model of love. And now, she's trying to fill that emotional void with people who remind her of the chaos she grew up in. Children raised in unstable, invalidating environments often end up seeking validation in all the wrong places as adults. And that's exactly what's happening here. Her childhood emotional struggles were dismissed. Her cries for help were treated as misbehavior. She was not protected or guided in the ways she needed. So now as an adult, she's craving the acceptance and support she never got at home. That doesn't excuse every decision she makes, but it absolutely explains why she's making them. This brings us to some of the information the mother revealed online. During one of her live streams, she claimed that Pretty Little Thug met this man while she was still living in foster care and was only 17 at the time. According to the mother, he preyed on her during one of the lowest moments of her life and allegedly showered her with money or gifts to win her over.
Live. Y'all, I am letting her live. Y'all keep saying let this girl live. I'm still going to put my motherly advice and my legal advice. I'm still going to tell her the truth. No kid should not be okay with talking to an old man. I don't care how much money they give you. I don't care how good they look. You have no business talking to a grown man that's 31 and you were 17. In the foster care, you preyed on this little girl while she was in her lowest moments, and picking her up from the group home is crazy. You wrong. You wrong. That's why I ain't go to the graduation, because this is how I knew I was gonna act, and I probably would have went to you know well, and then I probably would have lost. You know what I'm saying? Then my kids would have been, oh my man, yeah. That's why I didn't go. I'm not gonna go around that man knowing I'll chop it. Okay. Erica, I'm trying. I've been holding on to this for too long, bro. I've been holding on to this for too long, man. I've been holding on to this for too long.
Now, putting all the arguments with the mother aside, whether she's saying this out of genuine concern or just to make her daughter look bad, what she's describing does raise red flags. It does seem like the man is a creep regardless of whether he met her at 17 or 18. The entire situation is messy. And the fact that he allegedly got close to her when she was in foster care, emotionally vulnerable, and without a stable support system, points to manipulation. This is why the internet is calling him out, and honestly, they're right for doing so. While people and even some content creators are criticizing the mother for her toxic behavior and history of neglect, they're also desperately trying to warn the daughter about the consequences of her choices. And most viewers sympathize with Pretty Little deeply. They understand she's young, traumatized, and trying to navigate life with the tools she has. But they also know that the adult in this situation, the 31-year-old, holds far more responsibility. He's grown. He should know better. But despite every warning, every comment, every DM telling her to leave, she doesn't seem ready to walk away. In fact, she recently posted a TikTok saying he treats her right, treats her better than other girls, and has a good heart. And truthfully, we believe she genuinely thinks he's a good person. But the reality remains that a 31-year-old man involving himself with a teenager like Pretty Little Thug is wrong on every moral level, no matter how legal things might look on paper.
Y'all don't know his heart. Like, y'all don't know the real. I know y'all judging. I know y'all seeing this wrong. I understand it. For real. But what the fuck do y'all want me to do? Stop talking to him to make social media happy when I'm happy? He don't hit on me. He don't do nothing he ain't got no business doing. The only time he do something he ain't got no business doing is when I used to stop talking to him because I felt like guilty about talking to him, so I used to like cut him off. And that's when he used to go be sneaky because we wasn't talking for them little couple of days. But other than that, he do right by me. Like, y'all don't see the inside. Y'all just viewing it from the outside, and y'all viewing it from, like, I understand everything. That's why I'm not upset, because I understand how y'all feel about the situation. So I still don't give a fuck. Y'all gotta understand, every day Jaleel gonna do what the fuck she wanna do. Everybody know that. My grandma could get on here and tell y'all that. Jaleel gonna do what Jaleel wanna do. Y'all is really treating me like a celebrity though. Like, bitch, I feel like I'm Cardi B right now. Like, I never knew that I was this big. Like, I knew, but I never came to the realization, like, I am really big in life. I'm very important and big. For y'all to be sitting up here making videos and fake pages, and it's just crazy. I've never been through nothing like this in my life. Not only that, y'all trying to figure out who the nigga is. It's crazy to me. Like, y'all is crazy. Like, I'm that important. Like, I haven't came to the realization that I have 1 million followers. 1 million people watching me. 1 million people following me. That's big. Oh yeah, and she lied about that not being her real location. She's trying to confuse the enemy. She's trying to confuse y'all, which that's very smart to do. There's a lot of y'all and say that ain't it. Of course she gonna lie. Of course she ain't gonna. She trying to confuse y'all. Fuck y'all head up. Duh. Who wouldn't do that? But your whole load just got dropped. My whole thing about the situation is that was my personal business. Why did you have to bring it to social media? Like, I never got on here and told people your personal business that you told me until now. So why would you get on here out the blue and say that you want to tell them my personal business? Like, I know it's wrong, but besides all the internet stuff, I feel like it should have never hit the internet. That should have never been none of y'all business, especially if I ain't get on here and tell y'all. Like, that's wrong, point blank, period. That's like me getting on here out the blue saying she got 5 different baby daddies and caught this and caught that. Like, come on now. Yeah, she be up under me. Always trying to get me to tell her stuff. Leah, you okay? It's okay. You can talk to me. You can do this. You can talk to me. You can tell me anything you want to talk about. Mommy's here. All that flow ass shit. And it's so crazy because recently I've been saying, nah, I'm good. Because I've been peaked. But that's all. See where she coming from. But like I said, it should never hit the internet. That literally had nothing to do with y'all. Literally. My man, that's my man. That's my what? That's her what? That's her what? That's her what? Yeah. Thank you. Say it again, that's her what?
At 18, she is technically an adult, but emotionally and developmentally, she is still a teenager, still figuring out who she is, still learning boundaries, still vulnerable to manipulation. A man in his 30s has over a decade of life experience, financial stability, and emotional leverage that a teenager simply doesn't have. And that power imbalance makes it incredibly easy for him to influence her decisions, isolate her, or take advantage of her naivete. Teenagers don't have the same life perspective or caution that adults do, especially ones who come from unstable homes and are desperate for affection or validation. So when a grown man chooses to pursue someone that young, it's not love, it's predatory behavior dressed up as romance, and it sets the teenager up for emotional harm, dependency, and long-term trauma. Now, we want to point out something important. Despite all the turmoil, instability, and emotional neglect from her mother, Pretty Little Thug did have one consistent source of support, her grandmother. Hearing her talk about her grandma is actually really wholesome. In one of her TikTok videos, she even brought her grandmother on camera to vouch for her choices and to clarify some of the drama happening online. According to her grandma, Pretty Little Thug's mom has always been bad news. She claimed that the mother doesn't get along with her friends, doesn't get along with her own family, and constantly creates problems wherever she goes.
He's her type. She gonna tell you he's her type of man. So to me, that sounds like jealousy. That's jealousy, that's envy. And who misses their daughter graduation? She can come down for a car show and leave the kids, but she can't come to her daughter graduation and leave the kids. Come on. And then she want to get on social media and spread her daughter business nationwide. I hope you're getting all the ratings you need to boost it up, because what the devil have meant for your bad, God turn it to your good. And that's how you gonna come out. You gonna come out good. Yes. And I'm just, nothing surprises me about that lady though. Because she money hungry and she ain't got no friends and she's miserable. She don't get along with nobody, her own family, so I ain't gonna say what I was about to say. She jealous. She wants your man. She wants your man. Keep him away from her anyway. How about that? She ain't got to like him or be around him.
And you said that you would want to what? You would want to meet the guy?
Yeah, I would want to meet my daughter, whoever she, if he was 41. Just like on Good Times. Thelma brought her 42-year-old dude around her family to meet. The daddy didn't agree with it. Okay. But you ain't gonna not go to your daughter's graduation. You just gonna sit down and try to talk to her and give her the best advice.
That's all you could do.
Self-experience is the best teacher. Okay? She's had so much trouble these last 4 years, but she graduated. She made it. She did it. Okay? And I'm so proud of her and thank God for her being able to do it. She had all the support I could give her on getting there. Mm-hmm. Me and her had bumped heads too, but I still stood right there beside her.
That part.
Okay? That part. Okay? Because, hey, blood thicker than mud. And that's my baby. I don't care. Love covers a multitude of sin. Okay? And wasn't from her granddaddy, she wouldn't be here. So what? Lord, get me off of here because I'm about to go deep.
Throughout the video, her grandmother kept emphasizing one thing, the importance of family. No matter how many arguments you have with your children, you don't just abandon them or punish them in ways that cause lifelong emotional damage. And honestly, she's right. Coming from a person who has seen multiple generations grow up, her message hits hard. Because it shows the difference between someone who understands unconditional love versus someone who weaponizes parenthood. However, while people appreciated most of what the grandmother said, many viewers picked up on one particular detail. She casually mentioned that her husband was also much older than her, and immediately people connected the dots. Someone left a comment that summed up the situation perfectly. What TF is wrong with the actual adults? That 31-year-old man is disgusting. I don't care if the legal age of consent is 17, there's no way they're on the same page mentally, emotionally, or financially. This family is clearly dealing with a generational curse. Grandma talked about grandpa. The mom mentioned her daughter's father, and now the daughter is also with a much older man. Someone take the wheel, because I see a 12-car pileup coming. And honestly, this commenter has a point. People genuinely want Pretty Little Thug to break the cycle instead of repeating the same patterns that have hurt the women in her family for generations. Later on, Pretty Little Thug posted another TikTok saying that just because she's dating an older man doesn't mean she's like her mother. She insisted she doesn't let men run over her or treat her poorly. Whether that's true or not is something only time will tell. But for now, it seems like she is very much still with this same man. Just a couple of weeks ago, she even showed a promise ring he gave her. To a lot of viewers, this dynamic is concerning. But to her, it's just a relationship, one she believes is healthy. And while people worry she's making risky decisions, it's also clear that she's building her life in other meaningful ways. Recently, she bought a car, got her own apartment, and even launched a business. Regardless of who she's dating, she's working hard, staying consistent on social media, and trying to create stability for herself, something she never had growing up. So despite all the negativity surrounding her personal life, we think she is still trying to do better. And somewhere along the way, with more maturity and more life experience, she'll likely learn to make wiser choices. After everything she's survived, she definitely has the resilience to come out stronger. So in the end, Pretty Little Thug's situation is heartbreaking, but also incredibly revealing of how toxic family dynamics and unresolved trauma can shape a young person's decisions. Growing up in a household where emotional neglect, instability, and inappropriate behavior were constant, it's no surprise that she ended up seeking validation and support outside her family, even if it meant making risky choices. At the same time, her mother's approach, publicly shaming her, airing her private life, and refusing to repair the relationship only pushed her further away. This isn't just a story about a controversial relationship, it's about the long-lasting effects of neglect, miscommunication, and a lack of proper guidance. Pretty Little Thug's resilience, her ability to build a social media presence, and her attempts to navigate adulthood despite trauma are truly impressive, but it's clear she's still dealing with the fallout of her past. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Pretty Little Thug's mother handled this situation correctly? Should she have been more supportive instead of publicizing her daughter's private life? And what do you think this means for Pretty Little Thug's future choices? If you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your opinions.